Chapter 1631. Colin's face was still filled with shock. As a spiritualist, he was a complete newbie. Even Colin himself was still just a young man with a fart. He didn't know how evil people could be. Chen Zhao turned around and looked behind him. It was a woman with red tattoos on half of her face. Speaking of which, this woman was not bad looking. It was just that the red lines on half of her face made people feel very uncomfortable. "Aren't you spiritualists from LA?" Chen Zhao asked. "Ha. What? You want to know where we came from?" "Telling you." Just as Morgrid was about to speak, the woman behind him yelled at him, making him shut up. "Morgrid, shut up." Unhappily, Morgrid pursed his lips. "Sandy, we already have the situation under control. What's there to be afraid of?" Colin's face paled. Mr. Chin. I'm sorry. It's all my fault." Colin didn't expect this to be a trap. "How did you get here?" Chen Zhao asked. "I received a commission saying that an evil spirit appeared here, so I found this place." "Is it that volunteer help station?" Chen Zhao knew that there was a volunteer help station for the paranormal. Simply put, it was a place to post free missions. There wasn't a lot of traffic on the station. Most of the people were just regular people. They didn't even believe that the station could really handle paranormal incidents. However, there were still a few who believed it or encountered paranormal incidents. Then, they would post missions on the site. Some people couldn't afford a spiritualist or couldn't get one at all. It was easy to register as a regular member. It was the same procedure as most websites. However, the official members were special. There was some information that only spiritualists knew. For example, they could fill in a short paragraph about meditation cultivation. Only official members could accept missions on the site. The people of the society would occasionally try out new spells. If they didn't have a mission on hand, they would go to the volunteer help station to find one. Chen Zhao had visited the volunteer help station before. "Looks like they posted this mission, right?" Chen Zhao looked at Morgrid and Sandy. "That's right. This always works. It can attract one or two materials every time." Sandy nodded. Colin suddenly charged at Chen Zhao. He grabbed Chen Zhao and tried to escape. But in the next instant, Morgrid yanked the chain in his hand. Chen Zhao and Colin both fell to the ground. Colin quickly climbed to his feet and immediately tried to escape again. But in the next moment, a piece of iron flew over and smashed into Colin's chest. Colin screamed and fell to the ground. "Don't destroy his body. He's a rare strength-type spiritualist," Sandy said. "Fine." Morgrid stretched out his other hand, and a chain shot towards Colin, binding him tightly. Just then, 3 steel evil spirits walked up to Chen Zhao and Colin and lifted them up. "Damn it, you will be punished." Colin roared in indignation. Sandy walked up to Colin and reached out to pinch his chin. With a mocking smile on his face, he pointed at one of the evil steel spirits. It said the same thing before. "Hey, to be honest, can't you let us understand before we die?" "I want to know who killed me," Chen Zhao said helplessly. Sandy looked at Chen Zhao. "You don't look scared or panicked. Would you let us go if we panicked and scared?" "No. So I don't need to be scared or panicked. You look confident. Do you still have a trump card you haven't used?" "I'll give you a chance to use it." Sandy stared at Chen Zhao. "Then let me go." "I'll use my trump card," Chen Zhao said. Sandy narrowed her eyes at Chen Zhao. Suddenly, she whispered, "Kill him." The steel spirit that had been holding Chen Zhao suddenly swung its fist at him. "Ah!" Chen Zhao screamed. Colin couldn't bear to watch anymore. His heart was now full of regret. It was all his fault. He'd harmed Qin Zhao. Qin Zhao's screams filled his ears. This made him even more uneasy and regretful. The steel evil spirit punched Qin Zhao again and again. Qin Zhao kept screaming in pain. But in reality, Qin Zhao wasn't injured at all. Qin Zhao suddenly climbed up. The steel spirit punched him hard and sent him flying. Then it rolled a dozen times on the ground and pounced on Colin. Colin's head was bleeding too. When Qin Zhao stood up again, his body and face were covered in blood. Actually, the blood was Colin's. Qin Zhao felt that if he didn't have any blood on him, he'd really be exposed. So, he'd purposely designed this scene. Sandy looked at Qin Zhao. She wanted to see if he really had a trump card. If Qin Zhao really had a trump card, there was no way he wouldn't use it under the threat of death. Qin Zhao really wanted to spit blood now. But he couldn't. He wanted to bite the tip of his tongue, but he was afraid of pain. It was better not to put on such a difficult performance. The steel spirit pounced at Qin Zhao again and started beating him up. Finally, Qin Zhao was on the verge of collapsing. "Impressive," Sandy praised. "You're still alive after such an attack. It's rare to see such resistance." "You can stop now," Morgrid said. Morgrid said, "If we continue to fight, then such a good material will really be destroyed." "Okay, take them. We can leave now." Sandy waved her hand. The steel spirit finally stopped attacking Qin Zhao and lifted him up. Then Qin Zhao, Colin, and the three steel evil spirits entered the container of a truck. Colin was already crying. He was really crying. Colin was regretful. "Mr. Qin, sorry. It's all my fault, all my fault." Qin Zhao looked up at Colin. "Of course it's your fault. Do you know how much my clothes cost?" Colin felt that Qin Zhao was just comforting him and relieving his guilt. But the more he was like this, the more Colin blamed himself. He clearly didn't have any abilities, but he was so arrogant. Now, he dragged Qin Zhao down. "Actually, this is a good experience. After all, I haven't been beaten up in a long time," Qin Zhao said casually. But the more indifferent Qin Zhao was, the more regretful Colin was. "I wonder where we'll be sent to. I have something tomorrow. I hope it won't take too long." "Mr. Qin, just scold me." "Okay, you're so annoying," Qin Zhao scolded. "It's just a small setback. Do you have to be so serious?" Chapter 1632. Very soon, Qin Zhao and Colin knew where they were. In fact, Qin Zhao had always known. A container couldn't block Qin Zhao's senses. The container they were in was suspended in the air by a military helicopter. It was above a certain sea. After flying for almost an hour, the container was lowered. Then the container's door opened. Qin Zhao and Colin were taken out of the container by the steel evil spirit. They were now on a dilapidated freighter. There were many people on the freighter, but most of them were armed with automatic rifles. Just then, a bearded man with an eye patch over his left eye walked over. Looking at the one-eyed man, Qin Zhao's first thought was of pirates. There was another person behind the bearded man. More accurately, it was an evil spirit. "Ha!" Big bearded Cyclops opened his arms and wanted to give Sandy a hug. However, Sandy rejected his enthusiasm. Big bearded Cyclops didn't seem to care. "Dear Sandy, you're back. Looks like you've had a good day." Morgrid snorted. "Not just her. I got a share too." "Ha! Of course, of course." The bearded man laughed loudly. The man walked up to Qin Zhao and Colin. He grabbed Colin's hair and lifted it up for a look. Disappointed, he said, his magic is so weak. He's a speed enhancer, Morgrid said. The man's eyes brightened. Good material. The man grabbed Chen Zhao's hair again. What about this? A strength enhancer. He's quite resistant. You guys got quite a lot. You got 2 enhancers in one night. Are you pirates? Chen Zhao asked. Ha! The man laughed. Many people think I'm a pirate when they see me for the first time. Then who are you? Chen Zhao asked. The man opened his mouth. Just as he was about to speak, he suddenly realized something. I'll tell you after you become my toy. Not yours. It belongs to both of us, Morgrid corrected. Aren't we together? The man tried to mislead them. However, his intentions were too obvious. Morgrid and Sandy didn't fall for it at all. All right, I don't want to waste any more time. Send them to the factory to be processed, Sandy ordered. The 2 steel evil spirits carried Chen Zhao inside. Mr. Chen, are we going to die here? Colin was a young man, and he was on the verge of breaking down. Don't give up hope. Maybe a miracle will happen, Chen Zhao comforted. After entering the cabin, Chen Zhao and Colin's eyes widened. The freighter looked like a ship that was about to be scrapped. However, the interior was a huge factory. There was a pool with a diameter of 3 meters in the middle. The pool was filled with molten iron. Around the pool was a circle of magic veins that formed a magic array. The temperature of the entire factory was at least 40 degrees Celsius. There are 10 shelves in the corner of the factory. 10 steel evil spirits were hung on each rack. There were a total of 100 evil steel spirits. It seemed that these steel evil spirits were created here. These steel evil spirits were all finished products. But because no one was controlling them, they were very quiet. There were also some people who were busy below. Just then, a man with a mustache ran up. Sandy, Morgrid, you've gotten quite a lot tonight. Barton, send them to the solution pool, Sandy said. Chen Zhao raised his head and looked at Sandy. Can't you guys agree to my last request? I just want to know who killed me. Since you're going to die, the answer is meaningless to you. Sandy still refused to answer Chen Zhao's question. Why are you so guarded against someone who's going to die? Is there a need to be so careful? After Chen Zhao and Colin were carried down the stairs, the steel evil spirits put them down and let them walk. Sandy, Morgrid, and Barton followed behind. Barton, activate the solution pool. Standing beside the solution pool, Barton started releasing his magic. The magic array on the ground lit up with red light. Then, the molten iron in the solution pool started boiling too. There was an unpleasant burning smell in the air. Okay, who's going first? Barton asked. Colin's legs went soft. He turned to look at Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao shrugged and stepped forward. I'll go first. So brave, Barton said emotionally. I've created more than 100 steel evil spirits, but I've never seen anyone so calm when facing death. Chen Zhao strolled to the solution pool. Maybe I'm not as calm as you think when facing death. Most of the time, I'm the one who pushed the materials down. Now that it's like this, can you tell me who you really are? Sorry, it's not in my job description. Barton smiled. You can go now. If you're facing death, will you tell me? Chen Zhao asked. Maybe, Barton urged. Please don't waste time and my magic. Hurry up. I suddenly regret it. Can I struggle a bit more? Chen Zhao asked, smiling. Barton looked at Sandy. She snorted. Shut up. Push him down. An evil steel spirit walked forward and pushed Qin Zhao into the solution pool. Mr. Qin! Kalon yelled hysterically. Qin Zhao could feel a very strong demonic aura in the solution pool. The temperature of the solution pool actually didn't hurt him. It was close to 2000 degrees Celsius, similar to lava. That guy didn't even struggle at all, Morgrid exclaimed. Sandy frowned and turned to look at Barton. Barton, how's the progress? I can't feel him, Barton answered. Did you fail? Sandy's face showed some displeasure. No way. He's an enhancer and has great resistance. His success rate should be very high. Morgrid was also unhappy. There's no 100% success rate in transforming an evil spirit, Barton said. Any material can fail. What a pity. Such a good material. Kid, it's your turn. Sandy looked at Kalon. No. I definitely don't want to die. I don't want to die. Kalon turned to run. But the evil spirit behind him grabbed him. Throw him down, Sandy ordered. Please remember this book's domain name, 9 Heavens Godly Emperor Mobile Version. Chapter 1633. Just as Kalon was about to be thrown into the pool, suddenly, a hand reached out from the lava pool. Everyone froze. Immediately, the three saw Qin Zhao float up from the pool. They also realized that Qin Zhao was completely unharmed. Everyone was astonished. The temperature of the pool was close to 2000 degrees Celsius. How was he still alive? Even a demon would be in excruciating pain after being thrown into the pool. Qin Zhao was still tied up. The chains on his body were already red from the heat. But Qin Zhao seemed to be doing backstroke. I'm sorry, Qin Zhao said. Can you tell me what I should do next after turning into an evil steel spirit? Kalon's jaw dropped. He stared at Qin Zhao in shock. The others also stared at Qin Zhao in disbelief. He didn't die. Sandy's face was green. Drag him out and send this little guy in first. The pool could only convert one demon at a time. Now that Qin Zhao was in the pool, he couldn't convert anymore. Sandy could only convert Kalon first. Morgrid shot out another chain to restrain Qin Zhao. But this time, he realized that he couldn't move Qin Zhao. Damn, I can't move him. Morgrid couldn't move Qin Zhao even with all his strength. This made him feel that something was wrong. His demon chains could even restrain demons. Moreover, the opponent bound by the demon chains would have their strength reduced to its limit. They would be at his mercy. Even a 10-meter-tall demon wouldn't be able to resist him if he was bound, let alone a human. Get him out, Sandy said to the 3 steel evil spirits. The 3 steel evil spirits immediately used their power to control the demon chains on Qin Zhao's body and lift him up. Qin Zhao landed back on the ground. Then he struggled with his arms and the red-hot demon chains on his body snapped. Everyone's expression changed in shock. Kalon was overjoyed. Morgrid reacted quickly. The demon chains in his hands wrapped around Qin Zhao again. This time, there were more demon chains. Qin Zhao was almost tied up like a rice dumpling. Okay, game over. I'm tired of it. Bang, Qin Zhao snapped the demon chains completely. You weren't bound before. Sandy and Morgrid's expressions changed drastically. They stared at Qin Zhao in disbelief. I'm a strengthening type spiritualist. You actually want to use chains to restrain a strength type spiritualist? Are you looking down on me? No. Impossible. Even the strongest demon will lose its strength after being bound by the demonic chains. Lost power. Qin Zhao didn't think so. There was probably a limit to how long the devil chain could last. If there really was an enemy, as long as he tied them up, he would be able to capture them. Then Morgrid would be invincible. Unfortunately, Morgrid was not invincible. Sorry to disappoint you. Chen Zhao shrugged. Kill him. Sandy commanded the 3 steel evil spirits. Colin was thrown onto the ground. The 3 steel evil spirits all charged at Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao grabbed the fist of the first evil steel spirit that touched him. With a flip of his hand, he tossed the evil steel spirit into the solution pool. The evil steel spirit was transformed from the solution pool. However, they were still unable to resist the high temperature of the solution pool. The evil steel spirit struggled and wailed in the solution pool. Chen Zhao lifted his leg and swept it across. 2 of the evil steel spirits were sent flying. Chen Zhao strolled to Colin's side. He reached out and broke the devil chain on him. Mr. Chen. You, look, a miracle happened, Chen Zhao said, smiling. You weren't caught all this time? Colin asked, his face red. Did you get caught on purpose? He felt that he'd lost his composure just now. It was very embarrassing. Move away. Chen Zhao patted Colin's shoulder. He didn't think that Colin was embarrassed at all. When facing death, it was natural for people to be afraid. Those who could truly face death were all warriors and heroes. Chen Zhao didn't think that everyone in the world was a hero. Colin was just a youngster. Suddenly, a ball of red mist shot out of Sandy's hand, heading straight for Chen Zhao. However, the red mist actually dissipated when it landed on Chen Zhao's chest. Chen Zhao was stunned. What kind of spell was this? How come he didn't feel anything? Sandy was also stunned. She'd just used a voodoo corrosive spell. It was very corrosive. Even metal could be easily corroded. Why didn't it have any effect on Chen Zhao? Can you be more serious? Chen Zhao said. I'll be embarrassed if you do this. Sandy was furious at Chen Zhao's provocation. As you wish. Demon's breath. Black smoke shot out of Sandy's palms. Demon's breath was terrifyingly poisonous. It was a poison that didn't belong to this world at all. However, the black smoke lost its effect when it reached Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao had the bloodline of gluttony, so he could ignore all poisons. However, it wasn't his bloodline that worked just now. The black smoke had disintegrated. Chen Zhao clearly saw that the black smoke had disintegrated into spiritual qi. Chen Zhao was confused. What was going on? Why was this happening? I'm very resistant to voodoo and curses, Chen Zhao said. You can try other types of spells, like elemental spells. However, Chen Zhao's reminder was a direct provocation in Sandy and Morgrid's eyes. Half of Sandy's face started glowing. Gradually, a demonic aura emanated from her body. Half of her body was turning into a demon. Although her body shape didn't change much, it was different from before. However, she was indeed turning into a demon. A demon horn appeared on the left side of her forehead. Abnormally sharp nails grew out of her left hand. Black smoke gathered in her right palm, gradually turning into a black spear. Demon spike. Sandy threw the black spear at Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao didn't block it. Instead, he let the demon spike stab into his chest. It didn't dissipate. The demon spike had indeed attacked Chen Zhao. It was different from the previous 2 attacks. The previous 2 attacks didn't attack Chen Zhao at all. The moment it touched Chen Zhao, it turned into spiritual qi. Was it because of his elemental power? Elemental power could nullify spells. It couldn't nullify physical attacks. However, there should be a limit to this. It shouldn't be able to nullify any spell. While Chen Zhao was distracted, Sandy had already rushed up to him. After half of her body turned into a demon, she was shockingly fast. Her left palm clawed at Chen Zhao with green flames. However, the moment the green flames touched Chen Zhao, they disintegrated into pure spiritual qi. Chapter 1634. Sandy scratched Chen Zhao's chest with her claws. Sparks flew and an ear-piercing screech rang out. Chen Zhao reached out and pushed Sandy's chest lightly. He was already very light. But Sandy's body still flew out uncontrollably. Chen Zhao didn't want to kill them yet. After all, he wanted to know where they came from. Then he went to raid their nest. Chen Zhao looked at Barton and Morgrid. Barton was a bit panicked, but he didn't lose control. After calming down, he walked to the wall calmly and pressed the alarm. Just then, a large number of armed men rushed in. Without any explanation, they started shooting at Chen Zhao and Kalon. Chen Zhao charged forward immediately. The bullets from the automatic rifles were no different from tickles to him. The only thing that could hurt him now was the large-caliber sniper rifle. Chen Zhao punched the metal frame under their feet. The entire frame collapsed instantly. Everyone was thrown off the platform. Chen Zhao didn't care how many were dead or alive. He grabbed one of the armed men and pulled off his pants to put them on himself. When he'd been thrown into the solution, his clothes were all gone. To be honest, it didn't feel good to feel cold between his legs. Kalon looked at Chen Zhao. This was actually his first time seeing Chen Zhao actually fight. Sharp and fierce. And cruel. Suddenly, a figure jumped up from the ruins behind him and smashed toward Chen Zhao's head from above. Chen Zhao dodged and the man's attack missed. At the same time, he swept out with his leg. The man was very agile. He also dodged Chen Zhao's attack by a hair's breadth. Chen Zhao looked at the man. It was a man with two swords. He was clearly an agility-type spiritualist. The two swords were dark red and clear. They didn't seem to be made of metal. A few more spiritualists came in one after another from the factory's other passageways. Kalon immediately tensed up. Could Chen Zhao beat so many spiritualists by himself? Should he help? Kalon had no confidence in himself. Hey, who's that naked man? He's probably the material that was caught here. Kalon saw the spiritualists that had come later. They all had one or two steel evil spirits beside them. They'd mass-produced evil spirits and then controlled them. To be honest, let alone Colin. Chen Zhao found it unbelievable. If they continued with this method, they would probably be able to form an army. The bearded Cyclops also walked in. He looked at Chen Zhao who was standing below. Behind him was an evil steel spirit, which was different from the other evil steel spirits. The evil steel spirit was not tall, looking no taller than 1.6 meters. He was carrying a sledgehammer on his back. The handle of the sledgehammer was 2 meters long, and the head of the sledgehammer was estimated to weigh a few hundred kilograms. What a good material. The bearded Cyclops stared at Chen Zhao, his eyes shining with passion. Sandy, Mogard, since you can't take him down, why don't you take him down and he'll belong to whoever does? Sandy and Morgrid's expressions were extremely ugly. They glared at Chen Zhao, who was in the middle of the field, with hatred in their eyes. They couldn't do anything to Chen Zhao. However, he did not give up. If he could capture Kalon, he might be able to use him as a threat. Sandy and Morgrid exchanged a look. Suddenly, Morgrid attacked. The demonic chain in his hand shot towards Kalon. Chen Zhao had already noticed Morgrid's strange movements. He pulled Morgrid with one hand and grabbed the demonic chain with the other. Seeing Chen Zhao grab the chain, Morgred's expression changed. Chen Zhao yanked hard. Unable to break the chain in time, Morgred flew into the air and fell towards Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao grabbed Morgred's neck. "Now, can you tell me where you came from?" Morgred's body suddenly changed and he roared. His body grew 2 meters tall and he turned into a demon. The demon's arms were wrapped in chains and dragged on the ground. He swung his arms and countless chains flew towards Chen Zhao. Kalon looked at the chains coming at him from all directions, his heart filled with shock. A newbie like him couldn't participate in a battle like this. Chen Zhao did not care. He went up and grabbed the chest of the transformed Morgred. He reached out and pried open the demon's chest. Everything happened too fast. No one could react in time. Chen Zhao had already cut open Morgred's stomach. "Sandy, he'll belong to whoever can catch him. Is that okay now?" Sandy's expression darkened. The fact that Chen Zhao could kill Morgred instantly was already very clear. Although she was close to Morgred, she did not want to fight Chen Zhao. At the moment, she did not want to fight Chen Zhao. "Sure," Sandy said. Kalon was more and more uneasy. There were too many enemies here. He did not think that Chen Zhao alone could defeat so many enemies. "Mr. Chen, let's charge out," Kalon said in a low voice. "No need." Chen Zhao did not start a massacre immediately because he could not protect Kalon alone. His greatest strength lay in offense, not defense. Scanning the enemies around him, Chen Zhao made a decision. "The ship will flip later." "Stand firm," Chen Zhao said. "What? What do you mean?" "That's what I meant." They were on the ocean. This was his home turf. At the same time, a wave was rising not far from the ship. The wave was only a few meters tall at first, but as it moved forward, it also grew taller. When the people on the deck and in the cockpit noticed the incoming wave, they were all dumbfounded. Everyone was stunned. It was a suffocating wave. It was several times taller than the highest point of the ship. The people on the deck were dumbfounded. They stared at the sky-covering wave in shock. That is, boom. It was like a monster's roar. The ship was instantly swept into the wave. Even the largest ship in the world was just a small boat. It was just a small boat under the wave. The freighter simply couldn't withstand this kind of earth-shattering wave. The ship rolled under the wave. As for the people in the cargo hold, they felt as if the world had been turned upside down. Kalon also lost his balance. However, Chen Zhao grabbed Kalon. "I told you to stand firm," Chen Zhao said to Kalon. "I'm going to let go now. Find a place to hold on." Kalon nodded with difficulty. Chen Zhao let go of Kalon and charged out at the same time. Kalon's only enemy now was gravity and balance. The freighter rolled crazily and was at the mercy of the huge waves. The factory and the cabin was a mess. In this situation, the only thing everyone could do was not to fall and bleed. Except for Chen Zhao. Remember this book's domain name, 9 Heavens Divine Emperor mobile version. Chapter 1635. In this upside-down world, Chen Zhao had already reached one of them. Lifting the person, he asked, "Are you going to talk or not? Who are you?" In his confusion, the person turned into a demon. Chen Zhao didn't wait for him to finish. He smashed his head away. Leaving the corpse behind, he ran toward another person. That person was decisive too. He turned into a demon with wings. Chen Zhao blocked the demon's path in the air. "Who are you?" The demon stretched out his arms, wanting to fight back. Chen Zhao tore off the demon's left arm. "Tell me, who are you?" Just then, Two steel evil spirits charged over. But they still couldn't stop Chen Zhao. In the blink of an eye, Chen Zhao smashed them into pieces. In the tumbling hole, Colin grabbed onto a guardrail with all his might. At the same time, he saw Chen Zhao killing continuously in the hole. Those ferocious spiritualists were all demons. But Chen Zhao tore off their limbs and smashed their heads. The hole rolled on the sea for a few minutes before finally settling. The remaining few spirit controllers looked at each other in dismay. Their heads were all bleeding as they stared at Chen Zhao in shock. Chen Zhao twisted his neck. Covered in blood, his eyes glowed fiercely. Whoever speaks first can leave alive. The rest must die. Only now did Colin realize how terrifying Chen Zhao was. Don't hold back. We have to kill him. The one-eyed bearded man's head was bleeding from the fall. Right now, he was also a bit disappointed. He'd thought that Chen Zhao was just prey. Even if he'd killed one or two of his companions earlier. They weren't nervous. But in the moment of the upside down, Chen Zhao had already killed half of them. Moreover, they all died very quickly. None of them could block a single attack from Chen Zhao. Now, the prey had become the hunter. If they still thought too highly of themselves, they would really be killed by Chen Zhao today. Everyone present began to transform. They all turned into demons. Looks like your master is a demon from the real world. Chen Zhao's voice was cold. Judging from their actions, they didn't seem like a normal supernatural organization. Normal supernatural organizations didn't have proper methods. It was also impossible to brazenly capture a spiritualist and turn him into an evil steel spirit. Even Chen Zhao wouldn't dare to do that. Which spiritualist didn't have a few friends? Moreover, these people were covered in devil's blood. However, the devil's blood did not fuse with them. The person who could provide so much evil demon blood was most likely a hidden evil demon in the modern world. Brat, you will die here today, said the one-eyed man with a cold snort. Chen Zhao sneered. He didn't even use 10,000 techniques return to one or giant form. He had already killed all of them without leaving a single one of them. He didn't know what else they could do to kill him here. Chen Zhao stomped with all his strength. The metal under his feet caved in and some places even cracked. A large amount of seawater began to seep into the factory. You don't have much time, Chen Zhao said, smiling. You better kill me before the cabin fills up. Suddenly, one of the demons jumped into the sea. He seemed to be more mobile in the water. It was even faster than the fastest fish in the world, drilling rapidly in the water. Then he leaped toward Chen Zhao. Colin immediately tensed. He felt that Chen Zhao was trapped in his own trap. He broke the ground and let the seawater pour in, but he was also in the water. The demon in the water was too fast. He didn't even have enough eyes. Chen Zhao reached into the water and scooped. Chen Zhao lifted the demon up. Is it fun in the water? Colin was a bit shocked. The others were also dumbfounded. He caught it just like that. Chen Zhao glanced at the demon. He opened the demon's chest and pulled out a bloody heart. But it was still a human heart. Chen Zhao squeezed hard and the heart burst. He tossed the demon's corpse aside. The ship was already tilting and water was seeping everywhere. It won't be long before the freighter sinks. Chen Zhao moved. He was faster in the water than on land. Chen Zhao appeared before Barton in an instant. I remember you said that if you were faced with death, you would open your mouth, right? Barton had already turned into a demon, but he still could not hide his fear. He wasn't a battle-type spiritualist. Even though his body was many times stronger than before, he was still a novice at fighting. But he was still a novice at combat, perhaps even worse than Kellen. Chen Zhao had already proven to everyone here how terrifying he was. Especially when he was in close proximity. No one dared to say that they could block one attack from Chen Zhao. Barton didn't think that he had the ability either. There are so many of your friends here. Even if you don't speak, some of them will. Do you think it's worth it to keep silent? Chen Zhao could tell that Barton was wavering. Boom, boom, 2 balls of fire exploded behind Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao was surprised. The 2 balls of fire didn't attack him directly. But they still hit him. The 2 balls of fire didn't dissipate. It seemed that the non-elemental couldn't dispel such pure fire attacks. The non-elemental should only be effective against the spell itself. Unfortunately, the attack's power was rather average. Chen Zhao slapped his palm across the water, bringing along a patch of seawater. The seawater shot out like thousands of arrows. Ah! The demon that had ambushed Chen Zhao was instantly riddled with holes. Chen Zhao turned back to Barton. You better not waste time. I'm not a patient person. Barton looked behind Chen Zhao. A few more evil steel spirits charged over. Who exactly is your master? Chen Zhao roared angrily. Instantly, the seawater behind Chen Zhao churned. The few steel evil spirits were instantly engulfed by the seawater, and then there was no more. Yes. Barton was frightened. My master is Leviathan Abarin. Leviathan Abarin. Leviathan. Leviathan was the name of the king of jealousy, one of the 7 demon kings of hell. Among the 7 sins, only Leviathan's subordinates hadn't come into contact with him. Since this Leviathan Abarin was in the human world, he was either the projection of a big demon or a relatively weak demon. Where is he hiding? Chen Zhao asked. We're from Bermuda, Barton said, trembling. Bermuda. Chen Zhao thought of the Hell Cruise, Levicry, from his second trip to New York. Its destination was the Bermuda Sea. Can you take me to the Bermuda Sea and find your master? Chapter 1636. Of course I'm willing to lead. Before Barton could finish his sentence, his forehead began to split open. Then, a worm crawled out from the gap in his forehead. Barton fell to the ground stiffly. Brain-eating bug. Chen Zhao picked up the bug. It seemed that the bug had been hiding in his brain for a long time. As long as he said something or did something, the bug would break out of his shell and eat his brain clean. Then the brain-eating insect would break out of its shell and eat his brain cleanly. It seemed that there was no point in continuing to interrogate them. No wonder the demons were so determined. It was no wonder that the demons were so determined. They knew their situation. When the water level had already reached 3/4 of the cabin, no one wanted to continue fighting. They could tell from Chen Zhao's actions in the water. Chen Zhao was better at fighting in the water than any of them. He wasn't even as good as Chen Zhao on land. Fighting Chen Zhao in the water was suicide. So, they decided to split up and escape. However, all the exits were already flooded by the water. They could only jump into the water. However, when they jumped into the water, they completely regretted it. They realized that they were bound by the power of the water. There was nowhere for Colin to hide. The water was already up to his chin. The moment the water swallowed him completely, he saw the demon struggling to sink in the water. It was as if something was pulling them down. Just then, Colin suddenly felt a pain in his shoulder. Then he lost control of his body. He didn't know how much water he drank. When he could breathe again, he was already on the surface of the sea. Colin coughed continuously. He looked at the cargo ship in the distance, which was sinking. Splash, Colin was shocked. He thought that some sea monster had crawled out of the water. He looked carefully and realized that it was Chen Zhao. Kalon was still in a state of shock. But he was even more relieved. Thank God he'd asked Chen Zhao for help. Otherwise, he would have died alone. Facing Morgrid and Sandy's trap, he would have died. But why would such a huge cargo ship roll over? Kalon still couldn't understand. Was it because of Chen Zhao? Impossible. How could there be such a powerful spell? But Chen Zhao had indeed informed him. But now wasn't the time to think about this. How were they going to get back to Los Angeles? Mr. Chen, what should we do now? Kalon asked. You can swim back. I don't even know how far this place is from the coastline. How is it possible to swim back? Just because you can't do it doesn't mean others can't. Mr. Chen, can you do it? I don't need to swim back. Chen Zhao shrugged. Why? Chen Zhao stood up from the water and stood on the surface. Kalon's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Is that even possible? Chen Zhao glanced at Kalon. It was unrealistic for him to swim back. This place was at least 150 kilometers from the coastline. Chen Zhao called the 5 tiger generals who had been lingering nearby. Mr. Chen, there's a shark. Kalon's scalp was about to explode. He was already mentally uneasy. Then, he saw a shark in the vast sea, and he panicked. Don't worry, I called him. Kalon looked at Chen Zhao. Are they the ones I saw at Mr. Chen's house? Yes. By then, the shark was already before Chen Zhao. Kalon felt his lower body being pushed up. Then he realized that he was already sitting on the shark's back. Although he was still panicking, this was still a rare experience for him. Kalon looked back at Chen Zhao and realized that Chen Zhao was strolling on the water. He wasn't fast. The shark under Kalon also slowed down and followed beside Chen Zhao. He wasn't fast. The shark under Kalon also slowed down and followed beside Chen Zhao. Right now, the moon was in the galaxy and the waves were surging. If Kalon was in a different situation, perhaps he would really enjoy the night view right now. But right now, he wasn't in the mood to enjoy the night view. Kalon realized that Chen Zhao was talking again. He looked back and saw that Chen Zhao was on the phone. Mr. Chen, didn't your phone get destroyed along with your clothes when you jumped into the solution? No, I hid it. Chen Zhao shook his head. Fine, it was Chen Zhao's magic again. Kalon realized that Chen Zhao seemed to have endless tricks. He could turn misfortune into fortune no matter what situation he was in. Previously, on the cargo ship, there were so many enemies and so many dangerous situations. Chen Zhao could still force his way out. But on this vast ocean, anyone else would probably end up in the stomachs of the fish. But Chen Zhao seemed to be strolling in his own garden. Chen Zhao wasn't in a hurry because the Hydra was already heading toward their current location. Chen Zhao's call just now was to contact the butler and then record their current location. Then, the inferior demons would drive the Hydra over to pick them up. 2 hours later, the Hydra finally appeared in front of them. When Kalon boarded the Hydra, he lay on the deck, exhausted. No matter who it was, they wouldn't feel good after soaking in the water for 2 hours. Now, he could finally lie on the deck in peace. In the morning, Chen Zhao woke Kalon, who was sleeping in the guest room. Do you want some breakfast? Chen Zhao asked. Kalon didn't refuse. After a night of rest, he was quite energetic and hungry. Mr. Chen, how long until we get there? Soon, in half an hour, Chen Zhao said. Soon, the Hydra reached the shore. Where are you going now? Chen Zhao asked. I'll take you there. Let's go back to school, Kalon said. The coastal road was at least dozens of kilometers away from the city. It wasn't practical for Kalon to walk back on two legs. On the way, Chen Zhao said, "Don't randomly accept strange missions in the future. You better make some spiritualists and ask them to bring you when they go on missions. It's too dangerous to go alone. Mr. Chen, bring me when you have a mission." Chen Zhao shook his head. "Most of the battles I face are like last night. It'll only be more dangerous if you go. You can't even protect yourself. Are you going to be a burden if you follow me? When you have the ability to protect yourself, tell me again. Let's go on a mission together." "Fine." Kalon was helpless. After all, last night's battle had shown him how big the difference between him and Chen Zhao was. After dropping Kalon off at school, Chen Zhao planned to visit Wright on the way. When Chen Zhao arrived at Wright's office, he saw that there was someone else there. It was a smartly dressed woman who was probably a teacher. Chen Zhao didn't say anything. He sat on the sofa and waited for Wright to finish talking to the female teacher. Please remember this book's domain name, 9 Heavens Divine Emperor. Chapter 1637. The female teacher also noticed Chen Zhao in the office. When she saw Chen Zhao, disdain and disgust appeared on her face. Chen Zhao's posture on the sofa was too ugly. She felt that it was disrespectful to the principal. The conversation between the teacher and Wright finally came to an end. Then, Wright stood up and shook hands with the teacher. When the teacher turned to leave, she purposely glared at Chen Zhao. "Wright, is that girl a teacher? Didn't you hear everything? Why are you asking when you already know?" Wright rolled her eyes. "Then why is she looking at me like she has a grudge against me?" "It's because of your sloppy attitude." "My sloppy attitude has nothing to do with her, right?" Okay, come with me for a walk," Wright said. Chen Zhao held Wright's arm and walked around the school twice. In the end, they sat on the audience seats in the gym. A volleyball team was practicing in the gym. Chen Zhao was quite famous in the sports club. He was also the leader of the last USC sports competition. Apart from the new students, most of the older students knew Chen Zhao. This included most of the coaches in the school. Just then, the volleyball coach ran to the audience seats. "Hello, Ms. Wright." "Hello, Mr. Chen." "Blue Carrot, what's up?" Chen Zhao remembered Blue Carrot. After all, when he'd led the team last time, Blue Carrot had been the coach of the volleyball team. "Mr. Chen, do you want to play a match?" "Volleyball?" Chen Zhao froze. "I've never played volleyball before." "It's fine. Let's play together. My students are really looking forward to playing a friendly match with you." Why did Chen Zhao feel that Blue Carrot had deep malice? He didn't seem to have any interactions with him. Chen Zhao glanced at Wright, who was sitting beside him. "Chen, I want to see you play volleyball too. Go teach those arrogant kids a lesson." Since Wright had spoken, Chen Zhao could only force himself to go. Chen Zhao had only watched a few volleyball matches. He almost didn't know the rules. He only knew that the ball couldn't land on his side of the court. These volleyball players weren't as old as Chen Zhao. But in terms of height, they were all much taller than Chen Zhao. The shortest ones were probably at least 1.85 meters tall. Chen Zhao was only around 1.82 meters tall. In terms of height, he was a far cry from a professional volleyball player. Chen Zhao realized that the female teacher from before was also here. Chen Zhao was stunned. Did this woman instigate Blue Carrot to coax him onto the stage? "Nice to meet you. I'm Giselle Bumpy." When KG Sayer walked up to Chen Zhao's eyes lit up. Only then did Chen Zhao realize that the woman was taller than him. He was about the same height as the volleyball players. "Hello, how may I help you? I heard from Blue Carrot that Professor Chen is good at all sports. I want to play a game of volleyball with you." Of course, you can pick the first volleyball player. Wasn't this challenge a little too baffling? Just because I didn't sit properly in Wright's office. Chen Zhao looked at Blue Carrot. Blue Carrot also seemed a bit awkward. In fact, no one would offend Chen Zhao for no reason. When Chen Zhao was leading the team, the coach of the basketball team had provoked him. Without another word, he was going to fire the other party. If it weren't for the other party's decisiveness in admitting defeat, he would probably have to go home and wait for a job. "Mr. Chen, Miss KG just wants to talk to you." "Okay, let's go." Chen Zhao glanced at the volleyball players on the court. Chen Zhao didn't care who were official players and who were substitutes. Anyway, he didn't know any of them. "You pick first," Chen Zhao said generously. Because Chen Zhao really didn't know how many people would be playing. "Are you sure you want me to pick first?" KG Sayer looked at Chen Zhao. "Ladies first," Chen Zhao said in a gentlemanly manner. KG Sayer wouldn't give way to Chen Zhao. She'd once been a professional volleyball player. She didn't know all the players here. However, she'd seen them play a few matches. So, she roughly knew who was strong. This. KG Sayer quickly picked 5 players. Blue Carrot looked at Chen Zhao. There was some sadness in his eyes. KG Sayer had already picked most of the official players. The rest were basically substitutes. There was a huge difference between official players and substitutes. "Then I want those few." Chen Zhao randomly picked a few. The substitutes looked at each other. They were all freshmen and didn't know Chen Zhao at all. In terms of technique, they were worlds apart from the seniors. Under KG Sayer's lead, the opposing team had already gathered to discuss tactics. Then Chen Zhao and KG Sayer both put on a singlet. Chen Zhao was on the blue team and the opposing team was the red team. "Mr. Chen, what do you think about the deciding match?" "Sure." Chen Zhao didn't know what the deciding match was at all. The volleyball match was divided into 4 regular sets and 1 deciding match. The rule was to win 3 out of 5 sets. The regular set was 25 points. The first team to get 25 points and lead the opponent by 2 points would be the winner. The deciding match was 15 points. The first team to get 15 points and lead the opponent by 2 points would be the winner. "Can the match start now?" KG Sayer asked. Blue Carrot looked at Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao shrugged. "I'm fine with it." "Then let the match start. Draw lots for the right to serve." "Ladies first," Chen Zhao said generously again. Chen Zhao stood on the court like a free man. He didn't know where he should stand either. Just then, the opponent served. Seeing the trajectory of the volleyball, Chen Zhao immediately charged over. Bang! Chen Zhao knocked over one of his team members. But he also received the ball. Chen Zhao didn't control his strength and the volleyball flew across the opponent's court. It didn't land until dozens of meters away. Everyone stared at Chen Zhao, stunned. And the teammate that Chen Zhao had knocked over. "Ah. How are you?" Chen Zhao asked, squatting down awkwardly. "My hand seems to have cracked. It hurts a lot." Chen Zhao touched the teammate's hand. It really seemed to have cracked. This was awkward. Chen Zhao could only help the teammate off the court. 1 point for the red team. Chen Zhao was speechless. Not only did he make his team lose a point, but he also sent one of his teammates off the court. Mr. Chen, do you still want to compete? You're short one person. Why not? Chen Zhao said with a dark expression. It's just one person. Chen Zhao's teammates all looked at Chen Zhao with fear. They didn't expect Chen Zhao to be so strong even though he was only a few centimeters shorter than them. He'd knocked a teammate off the court with serious injuries. This was probably rare even in volleyball. Chapter 1638. The match started again. This time, Chen Zhao didn't catch the ball immediately. This time, the ball landed before Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao instinctively reached out to catch the ball. Beep, Blue Carrot blew the whistle for a foul. Holding foul. I can't catch the ball. Chen Zhao's brain was a bit muddled. He seemed to have confused volleyball and basketball. Red team, 2 points. The current score was 2:00. Chen Zhao felt very awkward too. He didn't know the rules at all. He just wanted to play volleyball with someone. It seemed a bit rash. KG Sayer looked at Chen Zhao mockingly. You should just admit defeat. The match just started. Why should I admit defeat? Chen Zhao pouted. Then let's continue, KG Sayer sneered. This time, it was the other team's turn. Chen Zhao looked at the trajectory of the volleyball. He immediately shouted, "Move! Let me do it!" Chen Zhao suddenly jumped up. Everyone's eyes almost popped out. So high! Bang! Chen Zhao smashed the ball with great force. Then the volleyball deflated. It flew less than a meter and landed on Chen Zhao's side of the net. If Chen Zhao smashed the ball, it would be fine if it didn't explode and hit the ground. If it hit a person, it would really kill them. Smiling bitterly, Blue Carrot switched to another volleyball. He signaled for the red team to score another point and the match continued. Chen Zhao was a bit depressed. He'd actually lost his composure just now. It was a good thing that the ball exploded. Otherwise, with that strength, it would have really killed him. But he'd already lost 3 points. This made Chen Zhao very depressed. The match continued. The match went back and forth. Chen Zhao's emotions and attention were once again focused on the flying volleyball. Chen Zhao flashed and chased after the volleyball. Don't catch that! His teammate yelled. The ball was already out of bounds. But Chen Zhao acted as if he didn't hear it. He cupped his hands and raised them up. The volleyball flew up. When it landed again, Chen Zhao smashed it high. Bang! The ball hit the opponent's inbounds ground. Beep, beep, red team scores another point. Score, 4:00. Wait! Why didn't I score? Chen Zhao roared. Blue Carrot, are you whistling? Mr. Chen, that's a combo. It's against the rules, Blue Carrot said with a bitter smile. I have one less person on my side, Chen Zhao said. My first and second attacks are not from the same person. I represent different people. Mr. Chen, rules are rules. KG Sayer said, since you're down one person, I'll let you hit twice. Does that mean that if I have one less person on my side, I'll have one more chance for a combo? Chen Zhao's eyes flashed. If you really get all your teammates off the stage, then you can do an unlimited combo, KG Sayer said. You said it. Chen Zhao looked at his teammates. You can all leave now. Why? This isn't just a competition for you. It's a competition for all of us, one of the team members said with dissatisfaction. Needless to say, these athletes had a strong desire to win. In fact, every professional athlete, in addition to tough training, also had to build up their mentality before they stood on the field. Thus, their willpower was stronger than normal people's. Their desire for victory was also stronger than normal people's. Real athletes never believed in friendship first and competition second. For them, victory was the only thing they pursued. If there really was such a thing as friendship first and competition second, there would be no foul tactics. Fine. The match continued. But the situation was still difficult. They really weren't good enough. Compared to these newbies, Chen Zhao was more willing to believe in his own abilities. Many times, he thought that he could save the ball. But there was someone standing there. Chen Zhao either had to knock his teammates away or watch them score. Soon, the score was 7-0. The team led by Cage Sayer crushed Chen Zhao. Although Cage Sayer was a woman, her strength was definitely stronger than anyone else present. Even in professional competitions, women's volleyball was more popular than men's volleyball. In fact, women's volleyball was even stronger than men's volleyball. This is very rare in sports events. Apart from technical sports, there were very few sports in which men weren't as good as women. Of course, a big reason was the market. The highest professional volleyball league was the Turkish Women's Volleyball League. It was publicly recognized as the highest professional volleyball league. Almost all the top women's volleyball players in the world played in the Turkish Women's Volleyball League, including the Golden Flowers in China. Cage Sayer had once been a member of a Turkish women's volleyball club. He had no choice but to use dirty tricks. Chen Zhao glanced at his teammates. The match began again. Chen Zhao went up and fought. However, this time, Chen Zhao sent a team member flying. "Why did you do that?" "I didn't do it on purpose." Chen Zhao looked indifferent. Chen Zhao's action caused an internal conflict. But he didn't care. He wasn't from the volleyball club anyway. "I say, you guys should leave. This isn't your match. It's mine. You think you can beat them alone? That's impossible. Even if you have an unlimited combo, you can't do it. That's my business." The others looked at each other. They didn't want to team up with Chen Zhao anymore. On one hand, they were facing an absolutely strong opponent. The pressure on them was too great. Moreover, Chen Zhao was weak and didn't even know the rules, but he was still so arrogant. "Let's go down. I'll see how he can play alone." Finally, Chen Zhao's teammates all left the court. Only Chen Zhao was left. Cage Sayer looked at him mockingly. "Are you sure you don't want to admit defeat now? The match only really starts now." "No, it's already over." Cage Sayer sneered. "Captain, what do we do next?" Cage Sayer's teammates surrounded him and asked. "Teach him what volleyball is," Cage Sayer said in a low voice. No one could do a continuous combo and save. It was impossible for any volleyball player to do that. Chen Zhao relaxed his shoulders and crooked his finger at the six. "Come." The opponent kicked off, but the ball just went over the net. Chen Zhao charged to the front of the net. Smash! With a bang, the volleyball landed beside Cage Sayer. But Cage Sayer couldn't even react in time. The entire place was silent. Everyone stared at Chen Zhao's shocking smash in shock. Please remember the original domain name of this book, 9 Heavens Divine Emperor Mobile Version. Chapter 1639. Chen Zhao looked at Blue Carrot. "Do I get 1 point?" "Oh, right, blue team gets 1 point. The score is 9-1. Blue team, serve." Blue Carrot looked at Chen Zhao. Was it a coincidence? Or was it luck? One had to admit that Chen Zhao's smash was too beautiful. It was a smash right after the ball was kicked off. But it was probably because the ball was too high that Chen Zhao had the chance. He probably wouldn't be so lucky next time. Indeed, the red team had kicked the ball too high. But they weren't professional players. It was risky to kick off too low. If they touched the net, they might let the other team score instead. So, they couldn't kick off too low if they weren't confident. Chen Zhao served. Chen Zhao didn't use any strength. His speed, power, and angle were all very ordinary. At this moment, KG Sayer also jumped up in front of the net. She wanted to give Chen Zhao a taste of his own medicine. Chen Zhao's smash landed right beside her. To her, it was Chen Zhao's provocation. Chen Zhao dashed to where KG Sayer's smash would land. He missed and the volleyball flew up. Then Chen Zhao jumped up too. Bang! The other team saved the ball and passed it a few times. When it reached the net, Chen Zhao pushed it lightly. Chen Zhao rushed to the net again to save the ball and smashed it high again. Bang! He scored another point. Everyone was stunned, both on and off the court. Chen Zhao had scored a point alone. His teammates hadn't scored a single point when they were on the court. This made his teammates feel a little embarrassed. They felt like they'd lost so many points because of them. In the next match, Chen Zhao really went crazy. To be honest, once he got serious. He really couldn't let the volleyball land in his court. He could even save a boundary ball or an out-of-bounds ball. Chen Zhao's only way to score was smashes, smashes, smashes. No matter how tricky the ball was, Chen Zhao could save it. No matter where he was, he could instantly rush to the landing spot and save the ball. On the other hand, the other 6 were a bit tired. Even though there were 6 of them, they couldn't compete with Chen Zhao, who had endless stamina. 9:39:49, 5. The red team was a bit devastated. They realized that after Chen Zhao's teammates left the field, Chen Zhao's teammates had already left the field. Ever since Chen Zhao took the lead, they hadn't gotten a single point. No, to be precise, it was impossible to score anymore. Chen Zhao also realized this. Moreover, he realized that smashing seemed to have become boring. So, he started to torture them. Chen Zhao just didn't smash. He headed the ball into the red team's boundary. Let them save, pass the ball, and then come back. Chen Zhao wanted to destroy their willpower. The first was to destroy their physical strength. Blue Carrot was stunned. He had never seen a match like this. He had single-handedly destroyed an entire team. Blue Carrot realized that Chen Zhao's skills weren't as rusty as before. He was completely humiliating the other party. 9 kg Cell took a deep breath. Okay, stop. You win. We admit defeat. Captain, we haven't lost yet. We can still continue. It's useless. KG Sar shook her head. She wouldn't be a professional athlete if she still didn't understand what was going on at this point. The other party was stronger than them in every aspect. Especially in terms of stamina. It was terrifying. Chen Zhao did everything for the team alone. Plus, his speed and strength were impeccable. Until now, Chen Zhao hadn't even panted. Then, she looked at her teammates. They couldn't even straighten their backs because of Chen Zhao's torture. What was the point of continuing? Her grudge with Chen Zhao was personal. KG Sar didn't want Chen Zhao to completely destroy the children's faith and willpower. But even she had to admit how terrifying Chen Zhao was. If they were to continue fighting, it would be too late. These children would probably be traumatized for the rest of their lives. Although they weren't satisfied, a loss was a loss. Thank you, and thank my teammates. Without their cooperation, I wouldn't have won. Thank you, everyone. Chen Zhao's opponents and teammates all blushed and lowered their heads. They all blushed and lowered their heads. No one wanted to look at Chen Zhao's eyes. Who was Chen Zhao mocking with that? Wright walked up to Chen Zhao and glared at him. Do you have to beat these hardworking children until they're all black and blue? I won. Can't you let me be arrogant for a while? Okay, let's go. Wait for me. Chen Zhao took off his vest and chased after Wright. The atmosphere in the stadium turned cold. KG Sar's revenge mission had ended in failure just like that. Right, who exactly is KG Sar? Why do I feel like she was the one who started what happened in the stadium today? She teaches math and is also the volleyball club's advisor. She's friends with Blue Carrot. That's all I know. Wright looked at Chen Zhao. Don't tell me you played with too many women in the past and dumped them, then forgot about them. I'm not that kind of person, Chen Zhao denied immediately. Really? You really didn't dump them? It really wasn't me. How can I forget who I slept with? Fine. Chen Zhao said goodbye to Wright. Then, he received a call from Zola, asking him to try on some clothes. When he arrived at Baron Mansion, Chen Zhao saw Lepore, who was rehearsing. Lepore thought that Chen Zhao was here to see her. In fact, if Chen Zhao hadn't met Lepore here today, he would have forgotten about her. Lepore had almost forgotten about this student. Although Lepore had chosen traditional Chinese medicine, Chen Zhao had almost forgotten about this student. Lepore had chosen traditional Chinese medicine. The reason why he chose the Chinese medicine department was just to get enough credits. Teacher, can you give me some leeway before the end of the semester? Ha. No, Chen Zhao replied, chuckling. Chen Zhao didn't care about Lepore because he couldn't control her anyway. Chen Zhao wouldn't be like other professors who wouldn't let you pass if you didn't attend enough classes. Chen Zhao only wanted Lepore to get a passing score in the final exam. As for how she planned her time, that was her own business. Chen, you're here. Come in with me. Zola is waiting for you inside. Nat glanced at Lepore beside Chen Zhao and only nodded slightly. Lepore had signed a contract with the Baroness because of Chen Zhao. However, even Chen Zhao couldn't help her with her future development. The only thing he could guarantee was that Lepore wouldn't be bullied in the Baroness modeling group. As for her own future, it would depend on her own ability. Chapter 1640. Other than Zola, Triss, and Cooper were also in the fitting room. There were also two female assistants that Chen Zhao had never seen before. He wondered whose assistant they were. Chen Zhao greeted the three. Nat, Triss, and Cooper were the three designers. Each of them had designed 3 or 4 sets for Chen Zhao. Therefore, he had to try each set on. The two assistants helped Chen Zhao put on his clothes and tidied them up. Zola walked up to Chen Zhao and fixed his collar. Chen, what do you think of this? The sleeves seem a bit small, Chen Zhao said. I feel like they'll explode if I use too much force. Then take them off. Nat, you designed them. You can change them. Okay. Nat nodded and went up to pinch Chen Zhao's arm. Chen, it's not my fault. When I measured you yesterday, you didn't use too much force, but your arm is really strong. Chen Zhao felt helpless that Nat always took advantage of him. Moreover, Nat had always been taking advantage of Chen Zhao openly. Actually, Chen Zhao's arm wasn't that big. After more than 2 hours of fitting, most of the clothes were perfectly designed. Only 2 or 3 of them had minor flaws. One of you, Chen Zhao said. Go to the trunk of my car and bring my wine in. Chen Zhao had to return the favor. A while later, the 2 boxes of nameless wine were carried in. You 3 can split this box. This is yours, Zola. Chen, these 2 boxes are worth $6 million, Zola said with a bitter smile. My clothes are luxury goods, but they're not worth that much. The nameless wine had already become an investment target for some investors. The current market price was around $350,000. A box of 9 bottles like this was worth more than $3 million. I'm not doing business with you, Chen Zhao said indifferently. If you don't want it, then give it to Rasfa for me. Zola couldn't bear to part with it. Nat, Triss, and Cooper obviously wouldn't reject him either. Of course, the 3 still put on a good front. Whether they kept the 3 bottles for themselves or sold them, it would be a huge profit. Even they had to admire Chen Zhao's generosity. As long as they weren't his enemies, Chen Zhao was very generous. Chen, Jerlin needs new clothes too, right? Children grow very fast, and it's going to be the change of season soon. Trish said. At this time, she did not pretend to be reserved. Having a good relationship with Chen Zhao was more important than anything else. Chen, I'll send those clothes to Moon Villa after I'm done with them. Oh, Chen, Zola said. My models are going to your place to take some fashion photos. Anytime. By the way, I heard from my father that you have a few sharks, right? The 3 designers all looked at Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao nodded. You don't want your model to have intimate contact with my shark, right? Is it dangerous? It won't be dangerous if I'm there. Even little Jerlin and little Larissa will play with them, but are you sure your models will dare to take pictures with sharks? There will always be bold ones. These photos will be published in all the magazines. Most models are ambitious. Okay, let me know when you're coming. If I'm not there, it's the same with Fei Lai. When Chen Zhao left, the 2 female assistants helped him send his clothes to the car. They did not forget to throw flirtatious glances at Chen Zhao. When he returned home, Chen Zhao realized that Fei Lai was not there. Little Larissa, on the other hand, was sleeping soundly under the care of an inferior demon. Where did Fei Lai go? Chen Zhao asked the butler. Mistress is at the rocky beach at the bottom of the cliff. Chen Zhao was confused. What was Fei Lai doing there? If there was a dangerous place in Moon Villa, it would be the rocky beach at the bottom of the cliff. It was not dangerous, but there was a possibility of falling rocks. It was not dangerous, but Chen Zhao had always forbidden Jerlin from going there. Chen Zhao went down the cliff and saw Fei Lai standing beside the rocky beach. Most of the other pets were here too. Fei Lai, what are you doing here? Show. Fei Lai pointed at the bottom of the cliff. Chen Zhao realized that it was Raymond. He was rubbing his body on the rocky beach. Molting. Chen Zhao was surprised. Every time Raymond molted, he would grow much bigger. He had already molted a few times before. But before each time, Raymond would tell Chen Zhao in advance. This time, Raymond actually did not tell Chen Zhao. Now, Raymond was already 8 meters long. If he molted again, who knew how big he would be? When Chen Zhao had gone to hell, he had seen Raymond's original body once. Raymond's original body was a monster snake more than 20 meters long. When he had first summoned Raymond, he was only 80 centimeters long. 2 years had passed, and he was also growing in the direction of a monster. Of course, Raymond was not like Amon. Now, Amon could not be seen at all. He was no longer related to his original killer whale form. Now, Amon was a complete monster. No matter how long Raymond grew, he still had the appearance of a snake. Even if outsiders saw him, they would only think that he was a python. Of course, Raymond's mobility was definitely not something a python could compare to. Right now, Raymond was constantly rubbing his skin. No one could help him now. The only thing Chen Zhao and Fei Lai could do was stay by his side and protect him. They could not let other people or animals disturb Raymond's molting. Raymond seemed to be in pain. Fei Lai was anxious. "Chen, shouldn't you go and help Raymond?" Chen Zhao was speechless. How could I help him? Should he go up and skin Raymond alive? Actually, it was not as difficult for snakes to molt as one would think. In half an hour, the skin on Raymond's head had already fallen off. Raymond kept wriggling his muscles. Gradually, more and more skin fell off. Chen Zhao went up and handed Raymond a demonic crystal. Raymond opened his mouth and swallowed it. If only I could molt. Every time Raymond molts, Master will give him a perfect demonic crystal. Black Moss stuck his tongue out and drooled. It's simple, White Moss said mockingly. Just let Master skin you. Really? Black Moss still had not reacted. He seemed to be considering the feasibility of this plan. Finally, after almost 2 hours of molting, Raymond finally finished. Raymond finally finished shedding his skin, and his body began to grow crazily in a short period of time. In just a few minutes, he had grown at least 2 meters. Fei Lai went up to collect Raymond's skin. Fei Lai had always been a collector of strange things. Please remember this book's domain name, 9 Heavens Divine Emperor Mobile Version. Chapter 1641. At this moment, Raymond looked almost the same as the monster snake in the movie Anaconda Disaster. But Raymond wasn't a python. He was a poisonous snake. Just like a normal snake, Raymond, who had just shed his skin, looked very fragile. Not long after, Raymond's skin became smooth and textured. Raymond successfully shed. Chen Zhao and Fei Lai prepared a feast for him. Raymond was very wild. Most of the time, he preferred to hunt in the forest behind. He would even bring back some wild game. When little Larissa woke up, she realized that Raymond had changed his skin. She immediately climbed onto Raymond's body happily. Raymond's body was cold. It was her favorite. After lunch, Chen Zhao was cultivating. Chen Zhao's internal alchemy had doubled in size. Chen Zhao's small world also expanded from 200 meters to 250 meters. His cultivation progress was very fast. At least, it was much faster than before. But this was also because he had just formed his internal core. Chen Zhao could clearly feel that the internal core's growth was slowing down. The bigger the internal core, the slower the cultivation speed. The internal core also seemed to have a limit of saturation. But this was normal. It would be strange if he could continue to grow like this without limit. Chen Zhao used all returns to 1 and the non-elemental giant form. After transforming, Chen Zhao's height had increased from 3.5 meters to 4 meters. He even went out to the sea to practice. If he practiced in front of his house, he was worried that he would accidentally destroy the entire house. After using all returns to 1 and giant form, Chen Zhao's punches could create huge waves. Just then, Chen Zhao received a call from the handsome guy. "Hey, handsome, how come you're free to call me today? That High Lord friend of yours is going to start a war soon." "Huh?" Chen Zhao was surprised. The handsome guy wouldn't send him a message for no reason. He wouldn't interfere in a war between lords. Did he want Chen Zhao to interfere? Is my friend in danger? Hard to say. The enemy is also a lord. The two of them together can barely fight to a draw. 2 against 1, but they could barely fight to a draw. The situation was really dangerous. But could he interfere with the war with his current strength? Chen Zhao wasn't confident. Do you remember what I told you last time? I remember you asked me to help you deal with that traitor, Chen Zhao said. Find the leader of Satanism first and then bring him to me. In this battle, I can guarantee that Beelzebub Zophi and his wife will win. Sure, Chen Zhao agreed decisively. In the New Orleans area of the human world, there is an organization hostile to the Satanists. It seems that they have been fighting against the Satanists for decades. If you want to get more information about the Satanists, you can go to this hostile force. This hostile force is called the White Spear Association. Alright. Oh right, last time I said that I would help you find a demon god Pillar's familiar. Come to hell when you have time. Now, Chen Zhao said. Is it convenient for you to summon me to hell now? No problem. Chen Zhao took the opportunity to talk to Fei Lai. 3 minutes later, he was summoned to hell. This time, the little handsome guy was on a plane. When the handsome young man saw Chen Zhao, he was surprised. You seem to be different. What's different? I can't tell. Is it because I've become stronger? Chen Zhao was looking forward to the handsome guy's affirmation. After all, the handsome guy was the king of hell. It was an honor for Chen Zhao to receive his recognition. Chen Zhao did not have the thought of being unconvinced by anyone. He also did not think that he did not need other people's acknowledgement. In any circle, people needed other people's approval and recognition. The handsome guy looked at Chen Zhao. Do you want me to admit that you've become stronger? Just speak from your heart. You don't have to care about my feelings. In terms of strength, there is no difference between the past and the current you. The handsome guy was indeed speaking from his heart. Has anyone told you that your EQ is low? I can feel your unhappiness, the handsome guy said. Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. Whatever, continue. If you need me to, I can lie. Ha. No need. Your real change is that you've become more advanced. That's a compliment, right? Probably a compliment. The handsome guy was not sure himself. The current you has more possibilities. Then the past me has fewer possibilities. Is that what you mean? Yes. Back then, you were close to your limit. But now, you can open up more possibilities and have more room for growth. Okay, I'll take that as a compliment. If you face that traitor of mine now, you probably won't need to borrow his physical strength, but that's good too. Is there any harm in borrowing his physical strength? In the past, you were close to your limit. After borrowing that traitor's physical strength, a part of it will remain in your body, allowing you to reach your true limit. But now, you don't need to do that. That physical strength naturally won't be an obstacle to you seeking more possibilities. The handsome guy paused and then said, also, I hope that you can lure him to a place without people before fighting. Why? You're afraid of hurting the innocent? I don't care, but he stole a drop of my blood. If he releases that drop of blood, all the deaths will be on me. I don't like to bear the sins of others for no reason. Chen Zhao could more or less understand what the handsome guy was thinking. It was like a bad guy who felt that he was the one who committed the crime. But if he didn't commit them, he wouldn't accept it. Of course, there were probably some disadvantages to such sins. Chen Zhao also obtained some information from the handsome guy's words. For example, his current strength evaluation. According to the handsome guy, he was once the traitor's subordinate. The traitor was at the level of a lord. Chen Zhao could fight against him now, so he was at least at the level of a lord. Of course, the traitor probably couldn't use his full power. He wanted to create a physical body in the human world that could contain his soul. This body might not be better than his original body. It might not be able to unleash his full power. Oh, where's the familiar you gave me? Chen Zhao looked at the vast plains and didn't see any powerful demons. It's not for you. It's for your daughter, the handsome guy corrected Chen Zhao. He was always very serious. Chapter 1642. Fine. The handsome guy was just that stubborn. He gave it to whoever he gave it to. Even if he gave it to Chen Zhao's daughter, it was actually giving it to Chen Zhao. But he was very clear about this. The handsome guy pointed at the horde of magical beasts in the distance. It's that group. Not just one. Chen Zhao asked, surprised. None of the tens of thousands of magical beasts galloping about was particularly strong. It's one, but it's also a group, the handsome guy said expressionlessly. What do you mean? Those magical beasts are called death gods. Hearing this, Chen Zhao couldn't help but frown. Wasn't this name too ominous? And they dared to call themselves God in hell. How could this be described as awesome? Anyway, Chen Zhao had never heard of anyone in hell who dared to call themselves God. For example, there were otherworldling gods who cheated people in the human world. Here, they were the lambs of those big demons. There were as many awesome and powerful demons here as there were flies and dogs. Those who called themselves God here were either out of their minds. Either that, or he was really too awesome. Chen Zhao and the handsome guy flew above the death gods. Only then did Chen Zhao see clearly that the magical beasts were just larger cows. Chen Zhao looked at the handsome guy in confusion. These are death gods. They're the purest pure-blooded natives of the infernal realm. They don't have any fiend devil blood mixed with them, and they don't have any combat prowess at all. But once they recognize a master, if their master is attacked, they'll do everything in their power to protect him. Every single death god here can block an attack. Chen Zhao was surprised. Any attack? Of course not. Once an attack exceeds a certain level, a single death god won't be able to block it. However, they can split up or combine as one. For example, with your current strength, a single death god won't be able to block it. Then why are they called death gods? The attack they receive isn't actually dissolved. It's transferred to someone else. Chen Zhao frowned. Transferred to who? Anyone can do it. The fiend devils in hell often self-destruct for no reason. Because of the death gods' attacks, there was a period of time when the death gods were massacred. This plane belongs to me, so no fiend devil dares to come here and kill the death gods. Is there a way to lock onto this transfer? Chen Zhao didn't want to protect his family. Then, he inexplicably transferred this kind of harm to others. Do you want to use it as a transfer partner? Yes. I don't understand your pity. The handsome guy looked at Chen Zhao in confusion. Didn't you say that humans are complicated? Chen Zhao shrugged. For example, I don't even know if I'm good or evil. Alright, although I don't understand, since it's your wish, I'll respect it. Actually, you're complicated too, Chen Zhao said out of nowhere. Is that so? Do I have complexity too? The handsome boy shook his head expressionlessly. No one knew what he was thinking. Take out the demon god pillar. Chen Zhao took out the demon god pillar. You use the sealing magic, I'll suppress these death gods. However, the moment Chen Zhao activated the demon god pillar suddenly exploded. A giant hand suddenly appeared in the sky. The hand blotted out the sky. Chen Zhao was dumbfounded. The hand reached for Chen Zhao. The handsome guy's eyes narrowed and the hand shattered. But just then, Chen Zhao felt his body being grabbed. A hand had appeared behind him out of nowhere, grabbing his neck and pulling him into nothingness. Even the handsome guy couldn't save him in time. Chen Zhao had already sunk into darkness. The next moment, Chen Zhao opened his eyes again. Chen Zhao found himself in a strange place. There was no light around him, but there were countless stone pillars. These pillars glowed weakly. It was this light that illuminated the terrain here. There was a huge body before Chen Zhao. It was a woman lying on her side. The woman, who was as huge as a mountain, was supporting her head with one hand, and the other was missing. She must have caught him here, right? She could capture him right in front of the handsome guy. He was definitely a demon king. Chen Zhao walked toward the huge woman. When he walked up to the woman, she opened her eyes. "Hello, Ms. Beria." Actually, it wasn't hard to guess the woman's identity. After all, Chen Zhao had met her for a moment before. He'd also been brought here when he used the demon god pillar. The demon god pillar was Beria's to begin with. It wasn't strange that she sensed it. That's weird. How can a living person enter hell? Beria kept staring at Chen Zhao. "Ms. Beria, why did you summon me here? You have Samuel sent on you. Do you know him?" "Yes, I'm the master of one of his projections in the human world." "You're Samuel's master?" "No, just a projection. You also have Beelzebub's bloodline." "I have a friend who's a subordinate of Beelzebub. He gave this to me." "Then how do you know Lucifer?" "When I was summoned to hell by a friend, I happened to meet him." Chen Zhao didn't plan on lying. Lying before a demon was the stupidest thing to do. Chen Zhao didn't think that his lies could fool a demon. "Give me your token," Beria said. Chen Zhao took out a stone sword. Chen Zhao immediately lost control of the stone sword. It flew to Belial by itself. "If I need anything in the future, I'll summon you too." "Yes, Ms. Beria." Chen Zhao didn't have the right to refuse. He didn't think that he had to act like he didn't respect anyone. In the human world, Chen Zhao couldn't ignore anyone. It was even more so in hell. Beria might not be omniscient. But when Chen Zhao faced Beria, she could instantly know many things about him. "Do you have any other orders?" "Ms. Beria." "Oh, one more thing." Chen Zhao's clothes instantly tore. He stood before Beria just like that. "Come up and move." "Air. Can I refuse?" "No," Beria said. Chen Zhao didn't know what he was feeling right now. What was this? But looking at Beria's mountain-like body, Chen Zhao didn't know how to move. He didn't know how to move either. "Ms. Beria, can you shrink a bit?" As soon as Chen Zhao said that, Beria's body was already as big as Chen Zhao's. Chen Zhao could only do it. But halfway through, he said helplessly, Can you cooperate?" "How do I cooperate?" "Scream," Chen Zhao said with a headache. Chapter 1643. Putting aside Belial's identity. Her appearance was definitely in line with Chen Zhao's aesthetic standards. This was supposed to be a happy occasion. But the key thing was that Belial really didn't know how to cooperate. "Are you a stone girl?" "No, I have a feeling." Belial knew what a stone girl was. "Then can you stop wailing and howling like a ghost? If you don't know, go get a woman's soul and ask her how to call it." Just then, a woman's soul appeared beside Chen Zhao and Belial. Both Chen Zhao and the woman were shocked. "Where is this?" The woman shivered. She looked like she'd just died. Then they saw a man and a woman doing exercises here. "Hell, Belial said. Tell me, what should a woman call bed? I'm in hell. I'm dead. How? The woman broke down. If you can't tell me what a woman should call bed, then you've lost your value. Don't fight and kill in front of me, especially at a time like this. Does it affect you? Yes, a lot, Chen Zhao said with a dark expression. Chen Zhao's face darkened. But your lack of reaction is very hurtful for a human male. I'm already very cooperative. I'll find some more human women. Find some souls that've been dead for a long time, Chen Zhao said hurriedly. Instantly, a few more women's souls appeared. Who can tell me what to call bed? I can give her an immortal soul. The first woman's soul suddenly shivered. I know. I can demonstrate. Then she started to act like an erotic in front of Chen Zhao and Belial. Belial copied her. Oh, I understand. Belial, who'd completely changed, was indeed a great motivation for Chen Zhao. Is your arm okay? This arm seemed to have been destroyed by the handsome little guy. Chen Zhao asked worriedly for no reason. Do you like more arms? With that, a few more arms suddenly appeared where Belial's broken arm was. Chen Zhao was speechless. No need for so many. Just one on the left and one on the right. Chen Zhao pulled Belial up and changed their position. They worked for more than 10 hours. Chen Zhao sat on the side and lit a cigarette. Just then, Chen Zhao's clothes appeared by themselves. Your friend is here to pick you up. Chen Zhao looked up and saw the handsome boy walking toward him. Chen Zhao stood up and walked toward the handsome guy. You came. All right, let's go. Chen Zhao nodded and looked back at Belial. However, Belial was nowhere to be found. Chen Zhao shook his head and left regretfully. He didn't know if there would be another chance in the future. Take this. The handsome guy tossed the demon god pillar to Chen Zhao. By the way, do demons like you all lack common sense? Chen Zhao asked. Belial never leaves her habitat. Here. Yes. Then why is she still here? Yes, but she doesn't want to leave here. Do you know what happened between us? Chen Zhao asked. The handsome guy looked Chen Zhao up and down and then nodded. Yes. Is there a problem? What problem? For example, will you be cursed after sleeping with the great demon king? Will there be any side effects? Why do you think so? The handsome guy asked, confused. Whatever, it's fine. Chen Zhao shook his head. But he'd probably been forced earlier. By the way, how are Beelzebub, Sophie and Norris? I can help them defeat this opponent, but Beelzebub, Sophie's target already knows his intentions. His target? Are you talking about the secondary demon king? Yes, his situation isn't good, the handsome guy said. There's a huge flaw in his plan. He didn't hide his intentions, so it's almost impossible for his plan to succeed. Chen Zhao sighed. With his current strength, he couldn't participate in this battle at all. I have a lot of angelic crystals and demonic crystals. Can you help? Chen Zhao asked. I won't participate in a battle between secondary demon kings. Then can you send me to Beelzebub Sophie's territory? Sure. Instantly, Chen Zhao found himself above Beelzebub Sophie's obsidian castle. Roar! Who's invading my territory? Beelzebub Sophie and Oris immediately sensed Chen Zhao's aura. Oris transformed into a fire dragon and charged at Chen Zhao. Oris, it's me. Human. It's you. Are you dead? Oris immediately recognized Chen Zhao. No, someone else summoned me. Is Abitos okay? Yes, he's great. Chen Zhao nodded. Let's go down and talk. After entering the castle, Chen Zhao saw Beelzebub Zophie. Your Excellency High Lord. Human, you seem to have grown a lot. I heard that your situation isn't good recently. Yes, I'm mobilizing all my power to wage war against another lord, Beelzebub Zophie said. If Oris and I lose, then Abydos will never be able to return to hell. You won't lose, Chen Zhao said. I can promise you that you won't lose this battle. Ha! Oris and Beelzebub Zophie looked at Chen Zhao. Why? I've already gotten rid of a powerful existence, Chen Zhao said. He'll enter this battle and ensure your victory. Ha! Someone who can enter this battle has to be at least a secondary demon king. Are you sure? Yes, I'm very sure. Chen Zhao nodded. That's not what I want to talk about now. Chen Zhao took out 80% of his angelic crystals. The angelic crystals piled up into a small mountain. Beelzebub Zophie and Oris both flew back. Even they would feel pain when facing such a large pile of angelic crystals. These are most of my angelic crystals, Chen Zhao said. Take them out when necessary to turn the situation around. Beelzebub Zophie and Oris glanced at each other. Chen Zhao took out half of his collection of demonic crystals. Beelzebub Zophie and Oris sucked in a cold breath again. They knew that Chen Zhao had a lot of demonic crystals and angelic crystals, but they didn't expect him to have so many. Human, I don't have enough to trade with you. Just treat it as my investment. You can return it to me when you become a secondary demon king. How do you know my plan? My friend in hell told me. He also told me about your current situation. Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 1644. Whether Chen Zhao was willing to admit it or not. Beelzebub Zophie and Oris had helped Chen Zhao greatly in the past. Moreover, they were entrusting their child to him now. What was this? This was a family friendship. So, no matter what, Chen Zhao couldn't just stand by and watch their situation. Human, I swear in the name of Beelzebub Zophie. I swear in the name of Ula Oris. Beelzebub Zophie and Oris both looked at Chen Zhao seriously. You will be our brother. We will answer all your summons at no cost. Okay, I'm about to return to the human world. If you need anything else, tell me now. Take care of Abydos for us. That's enough. Chen Zhao could empathize with the two Zodes. But from the perspective of benefits, they weren't that useful to Chen Zhao now. Chen Zhao was only one level lower than them. So what if Chen Zhao summoned them to the modern world at all costs? Through the suppression of the human world's rules, their power in the modern world would probably be suppressed by at least one level. They would be about the same power as Chen Zhao and probably wouldn't exist in the modern world for long. However, if Beelzebub Zophie could successfully become a secondary demon king, it would be very important to Chen Zhao. He could really do whatever he wanted in the human world. Of course, it was like Chen Zhao was holding a nuclear warhead that he couldn't use. It was an absolute deterrent, but he definitely couldn't use it. He had to summon a secondary demon king to the human world. Even if he didn't need to pay any price. But both Chen Zhao and the secondary demon king would need a lot of energy. It was like Chen Zhao was on the moon and talking to a rich man on Earth. Something happened to me on the moon. Come over. How would this rich man go to the moon? Of course, he had to throw money into the water and then have NASA send him up. Oh, do you know any alchemists in the human world? Yes, one of my subordinates is an alchemist, Chen Zhao said. You gave me so many demonic crystals and angelic crystals. I want to make a divine artifact, but I can't. Beelzebub Sophie knew alchemy too. His alchemy skills were definitely better than Ruan Faxi's. However, he needed a large number of angelic crystals to forge a divine artifact. He couldn't even get close to the hill of angelic crystals, let alone create a divine artifact. Help me send these angelic crystals to my treasury. Also, I will give you the design and the required materials as soon as possible. All right. Chen Zhao didn't stay in Obsidian Castle for long. The time limit of 24 hours was up. Chen Zhao returned home. Just then, the butler system contacted Chen Zhao. Master, Miss Amira has called you 12 times in the past 24 hours. Mr. Stephen has called you 29 times in the past 24 hours. While greeting Fei Lai, Chen Zhao said, "Help me call Miss Amira." "Hey, Chen, you're finally willing to call me back." Amira's voice was filled with a hint of complaint. "I'm sorry, Amelia. I had something urgent to attend to, so I just got home." "Okay, I told you the day before yesterday that I'll help you make an appointment with the cinema chain. Are you free today?" "If he's not free, I'll tell him to cancel today's meeting." I'm free, Chen Zhao quickly said. After all, Amira was doing voluntary work. Of course, Chen Zhao wouldn't make things difficult for her. "Okay, 6 tonight, Marina's restaurant. Don't be late." "No problem. I'll be there on time." After hanging up with Amira, Chen Zhao called Stephen. "Chen, you *Shoal, you're finally willing to call me back. You said that your friend will help us make an appointment with the cinema chain. Is there any progress?" "I just called my friend." 6 tonight, Marina's restaurant, Chen Zhao said. "But we have a favor to ask, so we have to go early." Since they were discussing business, they should act like they were discussing business. Even if Chen Zhao rarely came into contact with this kind of business. Chen Zhao had to face it. It wasn't like he didn't care about others just because he had the resources. Stephen's movies were good, but if the cinema chain didn't give him face. If they reduced the number of movies, he would be the one at a disadvantage. Of course, the cinema chain also needed good movies to attract the audience. However, this was a business where both sides would benefit if they worked together, while both sides would suffer losses if they split up. As the saying went, good wine fears no dark alley. It was actually wrong in today's society. The aroma of wine was actually afraid of deep alleys. If the cinema chain purposely made things difficult and reduced the number of movies to the minimum, by then, the movie's reputation would grow and the popularity would die down. Fei Lai helped Chen Zhao change into a set of clothes. After changing, Chen Zhao pulled Fei Lai over to sit on his lap. "Darling, there's something I need to tell you." "What is it?" "Say it." "I think I cheated." "What?" Fei Lai's expression changed. She turned to look at Chen Zhao. "I was forced by someone." "Are you kidding me? Who in the world can force you?" "Not from this world. They're not even human." Fei Lai looked at Chen Zhao. "Are you serious?" "Yes." "Did you enjoy it?" Chen Zhao was helpless. "Enjoy?" Of course he enjoyed it. As a man, Chen Zhao was even a little happy. "No, of course not. Even back then, I was thinking about you." "You don't mean what you say." Fei Lai glared at Chen Zhao. "Okay, I forgive you." Actually, Chen Zhao telling her the truth was already the greatest respect he could give her. Plus, it wasn't an affair in real life. Fei Lai didn't think she had to get serious. "Is that woman pretty?" "Not as pretty as you," Chen Zhao said. "How did she force you?" "I'll show you." Chen Zhao was about to force himself on Fei Lai. Fei Lai immediately grabbed his arm. Don't, you're the one who changed. It's fine. We still have time. Instantly, the bedroom was filled with the smell of sex. An hour later, the two of them finally stopped. If they didn't have a date at night, they could have continued. After arranging his clothes, Chen Zhao pulled the sheets over Fei Lai, who was lying on the bed. Darling, I'm going out. Come back early. Suddenly, a voice rang in Chen Zhao's mind. Is this how you and your woman do things? Chen Zhao paused. He was too familiar with this voice. You. Why are you in my mind? Guess. Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 1645. Then learn more. Perform better next time, if there's a next time. Chen Zhao hurried to Marina Restaurant. Stephen arrived soon after. There were only the two of them in the room, so they spoke more casually. Soon, Chen Zhao received Yamla's call. They were already at the door. Chen Zhao and Stephen immediately stood up. They didn't have to go out to welcome them, but standing up was basic etiquette. Yamla led Kefui Bus into the room. Miss Kefui, welcome. Stephen warmly walked up and shook hands with Kefui Bus. It wasn't Stephen's first time meeting Kefui Bus. After all, they were both in the film industry. Stephen was the director and the producer. Of course, he would have connections with the theaters. Chen Zhao was a bit dazed. Kefui Bus was also a bit distracted. He didn't expect it to be Kefui Bus. Kefui Bus also didn't expect to see Chen Zhao here. Hello, Miss Kefui. Chen Zhao reacted quickly. Bus, sit down. Yamla pulled Kefui Bus to a seat. Kefui Bus stared at Chen Zhao. Mr. Chen, are you the producer? Yamla and Stephen raised their eyebrows. They hadn't introduced Chen Zhao yet. But Kefui Bus called him out directly. I'm just one of the investors, Chen Zhao said. Stephen is the producer. What's your investment share? 30%, Chen Zhao answered. I want to see the final cut, Kefui Bus said. Of course. If the cinema chains wanted to schedule a movie, they would first have to look at the sample before deciding how much to schedule. Of course, there was a more complicated operating system. For example, if it was produced by or distributed by the Big Six, there would also be additional screenings. Their film was distributed by Rasfas PLM, so there would also be some additional screenings. Their flaw was the producer. Chen Zhao and Stephen weren't part of the Big Six. Even if Stephen was a god now, it didn't mean he could do whatever he wanted. When filming the movie, many of the actors were related to the Big Six. This was the sharing of benefits. Even so, their film would still be suppressed by the Big Six. For example, there were 2 movies released at the same time as them that were produced by the Big Six. These 2 movies were deliberately used by the Big Six to snipe Stephen's movies. However, these 2 movies could only take up a little of their movie slots. It was also impossible for the Big Six to use a movie made by a beyond grade A movie to attack Stephen's new movie. Because the risk was too great. After all, Stephen was in the limelight. If his new movie did well in the box office, it would mean that other movies would become cannon fodder. This kind of sniping was also risky, so the Big Six were very careful. Kefui Basi's gaze was focused on Chen Zhao. Mr. Chen, how long has it been? Chen Zhao scratched his nose. A few months. Mr. Chen, if you had told me 3 months ago, I would have given 80% of the screen space to your movie. But now, our Bath Group has already signed contracts with a few other movies. We have a guaranteed minimum number of screenings. Thank you. Chen Zhao had no idea that Kefui Base was in the theater business. Of course, even if he knew, he didn't want to use their past relationship. Because he didn't think he was friends with Kefui Base. Steven and Amira were surprised. From Kefui Base tone, it seemed that they had a close relationship. Base, you and Chen Zhao already know each other? Amira asked. Yes. Kefui Base nodded. She looked at Chen Zhao with undisguised passion. If I want to start a new relationship, he'll be my first choice. Steven and Amira looked at each other. They didn't think that Kefui Base would say something like this in public. Unfortunately, Chen Zhao doesn't want to develop this relationship with me. Kefui Base laughed self-mockingly. To be honest, Chen Zhao couldn't handle such a straightforward relationship. Mr. Steven, if there's no problem, send the final cut sample to my company tomorrow. As long as there's no problem, I'll give you the best split. Ms. Kefui, personal feelings are personal. Business is business. Call me Base. Kefui Base looked at Chen Zhao. People were like this. The more they couldn't have, the more they wanted. Because of his family, Chen Zhao refused to have any further contact with her. Then, he thought of his failed marriage. Kefui Base's feelings for Chen Zhao grew even stronger. Unfortunately, Chen Zhao really didn't have any feelings for her. Actually, Kefui Base and Amira were the same type of people. They wouldn't let their emotions get to their heads. Back when Kefui Base had dealt with her ex-husband, Oni, Chen Zhao had been very cold. Her methods were cold and didn't hesitate at all. But no matter how calm a woman was, she would still be impulsive sometimes. Chen, let's go for a walk, Kefui Base invited. Chen, you go. I also have some personal matters to discuss with Ms. Amira. Steven betrayed Chen Zhao decisively. To him, Chen Zhao could only benefit from having a deep conversation with Kefui Base. Chen Zhao looked at Amira, who also waved her hand. Goodbye. Oh, send Base home for me. Chen Zhao could only bring Kefui Base out of the restaurant. The night breeze from the coastline was slightly chilly. Kefui Base didn't speak, so Chen Zhao didn't speak either. Chen, do you love her a lot? Yes. Can this love last forever? Chen Zhao felt a headache when he heard these romantic words. Chen Zhao thought for a moment and answered, maybe family is more than love. You won't get tired of her. Even if I get tired of her one day, we won't have love. I really envy that woman. Why can she get happiness while I can only meet those disgusting men? We'll be friends. Chen Zhao could only say this. Give me a hug. Chen Zhao bent down and hugged Kefui Base. I need a warm hug. Chen Zhao felt like his head was about to explode. What warm hug? Thank you. Chen Zhao felt his ear get bitten. Chen Zhao didn't like making feelings so complicated. If he liked her, he liked her. If he didn't like her, he didn't like her. Chen Zhao didn't have any feelings for Kefui Base. He definitely wouldn't give up on Feilai for Kefui Base. Even if Chen Zhao slept with her now, they could only be *S**X. What Kefui Base really needed was feelings. Chen Zhao couldn't give her that either. I'll send you home. Please remember this book's domain name. 9 Heavens Divine King. Chapter 1646. Hey. Are you rolling in the sheets with Kefui Bath right now? No, I'm on my way home. Chen Zhao didn't plan on being entangled with Kefui Base. This relationship was too troublesome. Plus, Chen Zhao believed that after some time, she would have her own feelings. There was no need to be entangled with her. Pfft. What a pity. If you can develop a deeper relationship with her, we won't have to worry about showtimes when our movies are released. I don't plan on entering Hollywood. With Chen Zhao's capital, it would be good if he occasionally invested in 1 or 2 movies. He wouldn't be able to make it big in Hollywood. Each of the big 6 had a media empire behind them. Even if Chen Zhao invested all his money, he would only be a small fry. Plus, the total profit of the big 6 might not be much. Hollywood's total box office in North America last year was only $12 billion. How many of those movies lost money? Hollywood's biggest profit wasn't the box office either. The cake was only so big. If Chen Zhao went in and snatched food from the tiger's mouth, actually, Steven was just joking. Even he could only make 1 movie with Chen Zhao and Rasfa. No matter if the movie's box office was successful or not, Steven wouldn't make any more foreign movies. It wasn't that Steven didn't want to work with Chen Zhao. It was because he had no choice. Hollywood's internal power was deeply rooted. No one could shake it. When Chen Zhao returned home, it was already very late. After changing, he lay on the bed and asked softly, "Are you asleep?" "I'm back." Fei Lai's arms were already around Chen Zhao's neck. "Hey! Belial, are you still there?" Chen Zhao asked. "I'm here. Are you going to start acting again?" "In the morning, Fei Lai, I'm going to New Orleans in a few days." "How many days?" Fei Lai drank a glass of milk. "I'm not sure." "Okay, go early and come back early." Just then, the housekeeper spoke. "Master, Miss Alex is calling. Would you like to connect now?" "Connect," Chen Zhao said. "Hey, Chen. What is it? You said last time that you needed an assistant. One will come for an interview today." "Okay, what time is your appointment?" 10 in the morning, at my office." Chen Zhao looked at the time. It was already past 8. Just in time to go to Alex's law firm. "I'll go out now." Fei Lai helped Chen Zhao tidy up his clothes. Only then did Chen Zhao leave slowly. Bossamai was wearing thick glasses and sitting in a conference room. The coffee in front of her had already gone cold. In front of her was a thick stack of papers. Bo Simi looked at the time from time to time. The interview was supposed to be at 10 o'clock. But now, half an hour had passed. Bohemia kind of wants to go. After some hesitation, Bohemia stood up and walked out of the conference room. She went to Alex's office and knocked on the door. "Come in." Bohemia pushed the door open and entered. "Miss Alex, if it's not convenient today, we can make another appointment." In fact, when Bo Simi saw the recruitment advertisement, she thought that Alex was looking for an assistant. But when she arrived, she heard from Alex that her boss was looking for a personal assistant. Bo Simi used to be a personal assistant, and it wasn't a pleasant experience. Therefore, Bo Simi instinctively wanted to refuse. However, she was already here, and she was an introverted person, so she was too embarrassed to leave. Now, it was already past time. She wanted to use this opportunity to refuse. Alex glanced at the time. "Wait a moment." With that, Alex picked up the phone. "Hey, Chen, when are you coming?" "It's already past half an hour." "Sorry, there's a traffic jam." "When are you coming?" "Aren't I already here?" Chen Zhao pushed open the door and walked in with the phone. Annoyed, Alex put down the phone. Chen Zhao turned his head and looked at Bo Simi. "Is this lady here to hire my personal assistant?" "Yes, that's her." Alex nodded. She has a lot of work experience and a good education. She's more than qualified to be your personal assistant. Alex, lend me your office for a while. Alex left her office. Chen Zhao sat in Alex's seat. Please sit. How should I address you? Hi. I'm boss Simi Pam. Okay, Pam. Chen Zhao nodded. Boss Simi was not used to Chen Zhao calling her by her last name. However, her introverted personality prevented her from correcting him directly. Can you show me your information? Oh, okay. Boss Simi immediately handed her documents to Chen Zhao. Then she placed the documents she'd brought before Chen Zhao. This is my degree certificate. This is the evaluation report from my previous company. I know 4 foreign languages, including French, German, Russian, and Japanese. Boss Simi secretly regretted it. She was someone who did not know how to refuse at all. As soon as Chen Zhao opened his mouth, she started to introduce herself. She completely forgot about her intention to refuse. What's your salary requirement? Boss Simi took a deep breath and said, the higher, the better. Refuse, refuse, refuse. Boss Simi chanted in her heart. Is $10,000 a month enough? Hearing that, Boss Simi's eyes immediately widened. After all, personal assistants usually did not earn more than $5,000 a month. Even the highest salary she'd had in the past was no more than $1,500 a week. Before Boss Simi could refuse, Chen Zhao asked, You're from New Orleans? Yes, yes. I'm going to New Orleans in 2 days. You can be my tour guide. Chen Zhao felt that his offer was high enough. Boss Simi had no reason to refuse. Actually, Boss Simi was indeed hesitant. Chen Zhao's offer was indeed very attractive. However, she instinctively disliked the job of a personal assistant. If you're going to refuse, please be more direct, Chen Zhao said impatiently when Boss Simi did not speak. Ah. No. 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 Then you've accepted the job, right? Yes. I think so. Portia immediately regretted her answer. All right, Alex, you can come in. Alex walked in. How did it go? I've decided, Chen Zhao said. Help me draft a contract. A while later, a freshly drafted contract was placed before Boss Simi. Boss Simi signed it helplessly. She was not sure if she was forced to accept the job or if she was sincere. Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 1647. In the first-class cabin, Chen Zhao turned to look at Portia. Pam, are you unhappy? No. Portia shook her head. After a while, Portia couldn't help but ask, Boss, if I resign now, will you be angry? No, of course not. Chen Zhao smiled. I'm a very generous person. Then other than using my connections to make sure you never find a job, I won't do anything overboard, Chen Zhao said in a gentle tone. By the way, do you want to resign? Chen Zhao asked gently. No. I'm just asking. Portia turned to look at the white clouds outside the window. On the first day of work, Chen Zhao brought her home. Portia knew one thing. Chen Zhao was very rich. How rich was he? The kind that could make her disappear from the face of the earth. Of course, it wasn't completely without benefits. At least she got a month's salary in advance so that she could pay her rent first. At the same time, he sold his second-hand truck to her at a low price. This allowed her to solve the transportation problem. Portia ignored Chen Zhao. She picked up an actor's training and started reading. With her education background, it wasn't hard for her to find a job. However, she'd gone to Los Angeles because it was close to Hollywood. Of course, she hadn't gotten a single role yet. Not even passerby had. Suddenly, Chen Zhao closed Portia's book. "Boss, what are you doing?" "I'm bored." "Chatting with me." "My job doesn't include chatting." "No, it does." Chen Zhao waved his finger. "It doesn't. You can call Alex and have her read the contract for you." Portia took a deep breath and calmed her anger. "I really hope the plane falls and this asterisk shoal falls to his death." Rumble, the plane seemed to have encountered turbulence and shook. Encountering turbulence wasn't something that people liked. The vibration was very uncomfortable. Of course, it was unavoidable for commercial flights to encounter turbulence at high altitudes. Just then, the turbulence shook again. This time, it was stronger than last time. All the passengers felt weightless. Just then, Portia saw a spark explode from the left engine. Then, the vibration of the plane became more obvious. "Ah!" Portia screamed, the engine is on fire." Chen Zhao turned his head. "I think a bird crashed into the engine." This was indeed the case. Chen Zhao did feel it. But Chen Zhao couldn't stop it. The plane began to shake. Because the speed of the aircraft engine was very fast, if a flying bird were to hit the engine, it would bring about an imbalance of several tons of inertia, which could instantly cause devastating damage to the engine. At this time, many passengers who had pulled over saw that the engine was on fire. The entire cabin was in a state of panic. "We're dead. We're dead." Not only Portia, but all the passengers were also panicking. Chen Zhao was helpless. He couldn't save everyone. However, the plane had not yet lost control and was still flying in a relatively stable manner. The captain had already informed them that they would be docking at the nearest Houston airport. A loss of power in an aircraft engine does not necessarily mean that it will crash. The vibration of the plane continued. However, the flight crew was doing their best to control the plane to maintain flight. Someone in the cabin was crying. "Pam, shouldn't you be writing your will now?" Chen Zhao asked with a smile. Portia was not in the mood to argue with Chen Zhao. Her face was pale from fear. Someone was really writing a will. This kind of despair was very contagious. The entire cabin was filled with the smell of death. Portia also started writing her will. Chen Zhao looked at Portia. "You should write it on your phone. If the plane crashes, there might be an explosion that will destroy the paper," Chen Zhao said mischievously. "Also, the phone I gave you is a satellite phone. You can say goodbye to your family and friends now." Portia started crying. The more Chen Zhao said sarcastically, the more panicked and desperate she became. Crying was also contagious. The entire cabin was crying. Even the flight attendants who had been barely able to calm down were crying. But the plane still landed safely at Houston Airport. In the end, all the passengers landed safely on the air mattresses. When they stepped on the ground, the solid feeling made them feel like they had been reborn. Portia looked at Chen Zhao, who was fixing his hair. She recalled that Chen Zhao didn't seem to have any negative emotions before. From the beginning until now, apart from his bad words and actions, he didn't show any panic or despair. Portia gritted her teeth at Chen Zhao. "Weren't you scared just now? I heard your curse just now, so I think this accident happened because of you." Chen Zhao looked at Portia and said calmly. Portia gritted her teeth in anger. The two walked out of the airport. "Let's go rent a car," Chen Zhao said. There would usually be a car rental company at the airport in America. Portia hadn't completely calmed down yet. Can I? No, Chen Zhao reminded. Don't forget that you still owe me money. 10 minutes later, Portia drove a car to Qinzhou. Portia was already very tired. Houston wasn't that close to New Orleans. It was close to 600 kilometers. It would take at least 6 hours to drive. Boss, I'm very tired. Can you drive? I'll drive for a while. You can drive in the middle. Chen Zhao finally said something reasonable. But even if Chen Zhao drove, it didn't mean that Portia could rest. Chen Zhao chattered non-stop. Every time Portia closed her eyes, Chen Zhao would wake her up. Boss, can you let me rest for a while? I'm very bored, Chen Zhao said confidently. You're my personal assistant, Chen Zhao said confidently. You should help me solve my boredom. You must have professional ethics. But Portia was really tired. She'd just experienced a plane accident. She was mentally and physically exhausted. Hey, wake up. Portia woke up again. Is it my turn to drive? We're in New Orleans. Where's the hotel you booked? Chen Zhao asked. We're in New Orleans already. Portia looked out the window. It was already night. Portia rubbed her eyes. Suddenly, she jumped up. Oh no, I forgot to book a hotel. Book it now, Chen Zhao said calmly. If you forget again, I'll deduct your salary. Please remember this book's domain name. 9 Heavens God King. Chapter 1648. Boss, how many days? Make a reservation for 3 days, Chen Zhao said. What level? I want the best room. It wasn't peak season, so there were still empty rooms even without a reservation. If it was peak season, they'd probably have to stay in a motel. Portia booked the best room for Chen Zhao and a regular room for herself. She gave the waiter $10 and the waiter quickly sent their luggage to the room. Portia really needed a good night's sleep. After arranging the luggage, Chen Zhao left the hotel. Chen Zhao just wandered around aimlessly. He had no destination. On one hand, he was unfamiliar with New Orleans. Also, he wanted to try his luck outside. He hoped to encounter some spiritualists or supernatural events. The chances of encountering supernatural incidents at night were quite high. Plus, Chen Zhao's small world already covered 300 meters. It was like searching for a needle in a haystack. But it wasn't completely random. Chen Zhao didn't encounter any supernatural events or spiritualists. Instead, he was targeted by 2 hoodlums. New Orleans had always had one of the highest crime rates. There was a gang here that made people tremble with fear. The New Orleans gang was also called Marchino Gang. Their boss was called Marchino. In the previous city, this immigrant city was controlled by this gang. Even now, the darkness in the city couldn't be eradicated. Of course, like most gangs, they had moved from being open and aboveboard to hiding in the shadows. However, at night, the city would be filled with criminals. More than 100 police officers died in the line of duty in this city every year. Being a police officer here was the most dangerous job in America. There were black radical organizations and the infamous 3K party here. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that this was the darkest city in America. The 2 people following Chen Zhao were 2 men in hoodies. They'd been following Chen Zhao since he left the Hilton Hotel. When they realized that Chen Zhao was Asian, they followed him. Chen Zhao didn't care. As long as they didn't attack first, Chen Zhao would pretend that they didn't exist. Of course, they didn't attack because it wasn't too late. Plus, there were some people nearby. It wasn't convenient for them to attack. Both of them had daggers in their pockets. He probably wasn't a newbie. Moreover, they were very experienced and patient. If it were a normal newbie, they would have attacked the prey immediately. Why would he follow this path? Chen Zhao finally reached a place with no one around. The two behind him immediately quickened their pace. For Sam and Vicari, tonight was their harvest night. They followed their prey from the Hilton Hotel. Those who could afford to stay in the Hilton Hotel must be rich. Even the cheapest room in the Hilton Hotel cost $200 per night. Moreover, they had been observing for a long time. He didn't see any brand on the prey's clothes. However, the fabric of the clothes was definitely of high quality. After waiting for a long time, the Asian finally walked to a place where there was no one. The two of them quickened their pace to catch up. Sam quickly ran to Chen Zhao and blocked his way. Vicari, on the other hand, blocked Chen Zhao's escape route. "Kid, hand over the money." Sam waved his butterfly knife in front of Chen Zhao. "Do you have cigarettes?" he asked. "What?" Sam felt that his aura was a bit weak. He immediately yelled fiercely, "Kid, do you know what's going on? It's a robbery. If you know what's good for you, take out your wallet." Chen Zhao took out his wallet and took out a stack of new bills. "Is this what you want?" Under the dim streetlight, Sam and Vicari could still see the bills in Chen Zhao's hand clearly. It was at least $2,000. "We're rich." Both of them couldn't help but lick their lips. Chen Zhao waved his hand and the bills rained down. "You." Sam and Vicari were both stunned. They didn't understand Chen Zhao's intentions. "Kid, looks like you're itching for a beating," Sam yelled angrily. "Vicari, teach him a lesson." Right now, all Sam could see was the bills on the ground. "Ouch!" Vicari's pained howl woke Sam up. He saw Vicari covering his nose. Blood seeped out of his fingers. "Die!" Sam charged at Chen Zhao with his butterfly knife. Ouch! Sam was punched in the face. Just like Vicari, his nose was bleeding and he'd lost a few teeth. Sam still wanted to struggle, but Chen Zhao punched him again. "Aw!" Sam's fingers were under Chen Zhao's foot. "Help me pick up the money." "Aw!" Okay. I'll pick it up." "Let go." Sam and Vicari wanted to cry but no tears came out. They'd done a dozen robberies before. They'd never seen someone so cruel. Chen Zhao didn't kill the two hooligans. It wasn't worth it. When they attacked him just now, they used knives, but they didn't want to kill him. Chen Zhao guessed that it was their first time using knives. In the past, the people they'd robbed were terrified when they saw their knives. Sam and Vicari endured the pain and picked up all the money. They wanted to take the money and run, but they were worried that their friends would fall into Chen Zhao's hands. Chen Zhao took out 200 bills and stuffed them into Sam's pockets. "Consider it your payment. Do you have cigarettes?" Sam covered his nose and took out a pack of cigarettes that was half full. "Where can I eat?" "My treat." Sam and Vicari glanced at each other. They'd both been in the gang for a few years. They couldn't guess Chen Zhao's identity. However, Chen Zhao clearly had their intentions. Otherwise, he wouldn't waste time with them here. "Sir, is there anything I can do for you?" "No rush," Chen Zhao said casually. "Let's find a place to sit." The two made up their minds. As long as they weren't hired as informants, everything was fine. Everyone in the gang knew that being an informant was the most dangerous. The two brought Chen Zhao into a 24-hour restaurant. The bearded man standing at the cashier had a gun hidden under the cabinet. When he saw the three enter, he was very cautious. He didn't heave a sigh of relief until Qin Zhao slapped two big bills on the cashier. By the way, are there any places in New Orleans that are rumored to be haunted? Sir, why do you want to know? I'm just curious, Qin Zhao said casually, leaning against the chair. Just then, the bearded man walked over with hamburgers, sandwiches, and drinks. I do know, Big Beardy interrupted. Uncle, sit. Qin Zhao pulled out a chair. Chapter 1649. Big Beard was the owner of the restaurant. It was open every night. However, there would always be 1 or 2 robberies every month. That wasn't a high number. In fact, Big Beard had even been robbed 7 days in a week. Of course, there were successful robberies and failed robberies. Most of the time, Big Beard would take out the gun he hid under the cashier and the robbers would run away. Big Beardy could tell where Vicari and Sam were from just by looking at them. But Qin Zhao couldn't tell. Judging from Qin Zhao's clothes, he should be rich. He just didn't understand why he would hang out with people like Sam and Vicari. But they didn't have the intention to rob. Big Beard wasn't as vigilant as before. After Qin Zhao's invitation, he sat down and started chatting with Qin Zhao. There used to be a toll station on the Sibruk Coast Highway, but it's long been closed and abandoned, Big Beard said. Drivers passing by often see people at the abandoned toll station. I've seen them before too. I know, Sam immediately interrupted. Sam immediately interrupted and said, it said that more than 20 years ago, there was a tragic car accident at the toll booth on that highway. At that time, there were more than a dozen cars queuing at the toll booth. In the end, a tanker full of fuel was loaded directly into the toll booth. As a result, the staff at the toll booth and more than a dozen waiting cars were all set on fire. More than 30 people died. Yes, Sam said. The toll station was demolished not long after, but a stop at the edge of the highway has been kept. The government says it's to commemorate the victims of the accident. The bearded man said, but there are also rumors that the place is haunted. Every time the construction team tries to demolish it, they encounter an accident, so they never touch the station entrance again. The road has been diverted for a few hundred meters, but the passing vehicles can still see the station entrance. I once passed by that road and saw a figure at the roadside station. Apparently, they're the victims at the toll station. They don't know they're dead, so they keep wandering there. Everyone's interest was piqued, and they began to speak one after another about the paranormal incidents that they had either heard about or experienced personally. Of course, with Qin Zhao's knowledge, he could tell that most of it was fake. But there were a few that he couldn't tell if they were real or fake. For example, he couldn't find any flaws in the toll station. But he couldn't tell if it was real or fake before he confirmed it himself. After all, it wasn't difficult to fabricate a more realistic supernatural event. Boss, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. Picking up a burger, Qin Zhao stood up and stuffed a $100 bill into Beardy's hand. At the same time, he called out to Sam and Vicari, let's go. Sir, if you come again tomorrow night, I will continue to tell you stories. The bearded man was very happy. Not only did he kill time, but he also earned tips. Sam and Vicari were cautious as they left the restaurant. Actually, at this time, they wanted to escape. But since Qin Zhao didn't want to let them go, there was nothing they could do. Do you have cars? Qin Zhao asked. Both Sam and Vicari wanted to say no. As a matter of fact, they had a small old car. I'll stay in New Orleans for a while. I wanted to hire you for $500 a day, but since you don't have a car, forget it. With that, he turned to leave. Okay, I'm leaving. Bye. The two immediately caught up. Yes, we have a car. We have a car. What a joke. The two of them robbed for a few days, but they still couldn't get $500. Usually, each successful robbery would only get a few $100s. Sometimes, it was even less. They could make do with this bit of money for a few days. Then, when they ran out of money, they would rob again. This was basically their daily life. They didn't succeed every time. Now, Chen Zhao was going to hire them. Plus, it was $500 a day. This one was much easier than robbing others. It was also much less risky. Sir, what do you want us to do? I want to go to the locations of the supernatural events you mentioned. Sam and Vikari exchanged glances. What exactly did this rich guy want to do? But it wasn't hard at all. They'd thought that Chen Zhao wanted them to do something risky. They didn't expect this. They already thought that Chen Zhao was a rich guy looking for excitement. That was all. What did they have to hesitate about? Soon, Sam and Vikari got into the car with Chen Zhao. The first place they went was the Seabrook Coastal Highway. After half an hour, they reached their destination. Sam parked the car by the side of the road and looked at a sentry box dozens of meters away. That's the original toll station. Chen Zhao sat in the car and looked at the abandoned toll station in the distance. As expected, there was an unusual aura. Sir, do you want to go take a look? No need, Chen Zhao said. Let's go to the next place. With Chen Zhao's eyesight, he could tell at a glance if there were any supernatural events or not. There was an unusual aura here that couldn't escape Chen Zhao's eyes. Sam and Vikari didn't know what Chen Zhao was planning. But now that Chen Zhao was their employer, they naturally listened to him. Then, the two drove and took Chen Zhao to many places. There were about a third of the places with real supernatural events. Is there any place you haven't been to? Sir, we've been to all of them, Sam and Vikari said. By the way, I remember a few days ago, one of our friends said that something happened to his girlfriend's family. His girlfriend's entire family went crazy, except for his girlfriend who was with him at the time. The police reported that they accidentally ate hallucinogenic and poisonous food. However, his girlfriend doesn't seem to be normal these days. She doesn't dare to go home recently. Do you know where she lives? Yes. Then let's go take a look. Half an hour later, the car stopped outside a house in a community. There was a dim light in the house and the curtains were drawn. That's weird. Is there someone living here? Could it be Bangka's girlfriend who came home? Didn't I hear that his girlfriend has been staying with him recently? Chen Zhao could feel that there were two evil spirits in the house. They were very fierce ones. Also, what Sam and Vikari saw wasn't light. It was real will-o'-the-wisp. But Chen Zhao didn't plan on subduing them for now. Anyway, there was no one living in the house. I'll give you a mission, Chen Zhao said. Sam, from tomorrow onwards, wait outside the house and see if anyone comes in. If a stranger enters or leaves, remember to follow that person. Vikari, go to the Seabrook toll station and keep watch. It's the same. Here's $1,000 for today's work. Send me back to the hotel now. Please remember this book's domain name, 9 Heavens Divine Emperor. Chapter 1650. Sam and Vikari were dumbfounded. What kind of mission was this? They didn't understand at all. However, this $1,000 was the real deal. They couldn't find a reason to reject it. Plus, it wasn't a risky mission. At least, that was what they thought. When they reached the hotel, Chen Zhao looked back at the two people in the car. Let's get a better car tomorrow. It's so uncomfortable. Sam and Vikari were helpless. They didn't have the money to get a better car. Unless they used all the money Chen Zhao gave them to buy a new car. They would probably be able to meet Chen Zhao's requirements. Sam, what do you think that guy does? Who cares? He has money anyway. Sam couldn't be bothered to think that much. He thought that Chen Zhao was just a rich person looking for fun. The next day, Portia felt extremely comfortable. She'd slept so well. But after checking the time, she was so scared that she scrambled up to wash up. It was already 9 in the morning. She'd slept for more than 10 hours. Chen Zhao's temper wasn't good. Portia hurried to Chen Zhao's room. Chen Zhao's door was open. 2 waiters were pushing a dining cart, preparing breakfast for him. Portia entered the room and saw that Chen Zhao was doing his morning exercise. Breakfast is ready. Please enjoy. After Portia tipped them, the 2 waiters bowed and left. Portia thought to herself as she looked at the prepared breakfast. This guy's even so extravagant for breakfast. This breakfast alone cost more than $1,000. Portia glanced at Chen Zhao, who was still running on the treadmill. She secretly picked up an egg roll and stuffed it into her mouth. But before she could swallow, she realized that Chen Zhao was already standing before her. Cough, cough, Portia almost choked to death. Sit down and eat together, Chen Zhao said calmly. No need to sneak around. Then he went into the bathroom to wash up. Portia's face was bright red. She didn't know whether to sit or stand. After a while, Chen Zhao walked out of the bathroom. Portia's eyes widened when she saw Chen Zhao's figure. She couldn't help but swallow. She didn't expect this guy to have such a good figure. You're not eating. Chen Zhao sat on the sofa. Portia wanted to eat. The food here was all high-end. But she was a bit shy. Sit down and eat. After Chen Zhao spoke for the second time, Portia finally sat down to eat breakfast. Boss, do you have any plans for today? Just walking around. Do you have any recommendations? Chen Zhao asked. New Orleans Art Gallery. Want to go? No, Chen Zhao rejected immediately. I don't have any artistic talent, so I can't pretend. Mr. Chen, do you want to see the longest bridge in the world, Lake Pontchartrain Bridge? Sure. The Lake Pontchartrain Bridge consists of 2 parallel bridges spanning Lake Pontchartrain, with a total length of 422 kilometers. The second bridge is 16 meters longer than the first. And this project was completed in 1969 last century. In one section of the Pontchartrain Bridge there is an artificial island, a holiday resort for tourists. When you're full, help me choose a set of clothes. Boss, I'm not your servant. You need to ask Alex about the job of a personal assistant. All right. Portia was helpless. After getting dressed, he said, drive the car to the hotel entrance. Portia's lips twitched. Instinctively, she wanted to reject him. But after considering the situation, she gave up on the idea. She was already subconsciously following Chen Zhao's orders. Portia was obviously driving today. She was countless times more familiar with New Orleans than Chen Zhao. Boss, what business do you have in New Orleans this time? Do I need to prepare anything? Nothing. You don't need to worry about that. Portia was speechless. Her expertise was completely useless against Chen Zhao. She was almost reduced to Chen Zhao's servant. No, not almost. She was already reduced. But when the car reached the entrance of the Lake Pontchartrain Bridge, it was stopped. What's going on? Chen Zhao asked. I don't know. Portia shook her head. There was a checkpoint ahead. It was set up by the military. Chen Zhao and Portia got out of the car and looked ahead. Just then, Chen Zhao saw a familiar-looking person. Demi Sonnenfeld. She seemed to be in charge here. She also saw Chen Zhao. She had a huge grudge against Chen Zhao. Back then, Demi's father, Sonnenfeld, had gone bankrupt because of Chen Zhao. Then, Chen Zhao had killed her commanding officer, Lieutenant Paul, in the Las Vegas desert. Chen Zhao had been very careful and didn't leave any evidence. However, Demi's hatred for Chen Zhao wouldn't disappear just because there was no evidence. Demi walked toward Chen Zhao. Why are you here? The disgust and hatred in Demi's eyes couldn't be hidden at all. Pfft. Looks like you got promoted. Did you replace Paul's position? Chen Zhao looked at Demi with a smile. I know you did it. Don't think I don't know. Lieutenant Paul's death is definitely related to you. Demi looked at Chen Zhao, gritting her teeth. How's your father? Chen Zhao asked, smiling. Demi exploded. Her father had gone bankrupt and owed tens of millions of dollars to the bank. Although Demi had brought him home now, her father had always been depressed. However, her father had always been depressed. He drank alcohol every day and was dispirited. Demi really wanted to pull out her gun, but she controlled her anger in the end. One day, I'll kill you legitimately. Demi gritted her teeth. Then I'll kill you right away. Chen Zhao scoffed at Demi's threat. On the other hand, Portia broke out in a cold sweat. Chen Zhao had a huge grudge against this military officer. Would he make things difficult for them? Miss Demi, can you tell me what happened? It's none of your business, Demi snorted. It's fine if you don't tell me, Chen Zhao said calmly. You have your own way to find out anyway. Then go find your way. Everything here is a military secret. If you keep asking, I can arrest you for endangering public safety and spying. Pfft. Please don't scare me. Otherwise, my lawyer team might go to the Department of National Defense. The most annoying group of people in the world was definitely lawyers. Especially the lawyers in the United States, they were definitely existences that could go against the heavens, the earth, and the air. They dared to sue the government, the military, and even the United Nations. There was nothing they didn't dare to go against. They were a bunch of mad dogs. Unfortunately, Chen Zhao had a bunch of mad dogs like that. Demi didn't have a legitimate reason to arrest him. Even if it was a legitimate arrest, Chen Zhao could guarantee that Demi would lose her military position. Chapter 1651. Actually, Demi was just trying to scare him. She knew that she couldn't do anything to Chen Zhao for now. Unfortunately, Chen Zhao's temper was too terrible. He wasn't even willing to suffer a loss with his words. Chen Zhao patted Demi's shoulder without hesitation. Your father has already gone bankrupt. If you lose your job, I think your father's creditors will pounce on you like mad dogs and tear your father apart. So, you better think carefully before you speak. Demi's expression turned even uglier. Now that she had a military position, she could barely protect her father. If she lost her commission, her father would probably be sued by his creditors and thrown into prison. If someone interfered, her father might not be able to get out of prison alive. Demi's eyes were filled with murderous intent. But she really couldn't do anything now. If he didn't have a proper name, his words wouldn't be justified. If she couldn't do anything to Chen Zhao, she might even get herself into trouble. In Portia's eyes, Chen Zhao was definitely an evil rich man. However, Chen Zhao could only chat with Demi here. Demi would never let him go just because of his threat. The bridge of Lake Pontchartrain was uncrossable. Demi wasn't just targeting Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao could only ask Portia to turn the car around. Boss, where to now? Portia kept thinking about Demi's words. Demi said that Chen Zhao had killed an officer. This gave her goosebumps. She didn't know what Chen Zhao did. The only thing she knew about him was that he was rich. He was very rich. Now, she felt that Chen Zhao's money might have come from an illegal source. Her fear of Chen Zhao grew deeper and deeper. But now she was in a difficult position. As long as Chen Zhao didn't agree to her resignation, she couldn't leave. She was even more afraid to speak. She was worried that she had angered him. Chen Zhao threatened her family. Anyway, Portia was just scaring herself. The more he thought about it, the more afraid he became. Find a restaurant, Chen Zhao said. Boss, they've only been out for an hour, and you seem to have eaten a lot for breakfast. Breakfast? How could that be called breakfast? That wasn't even enough to fill Chen Zhao's teeth. If Chen Zhao really ate to his heart's content, he could probably empty the entire hotel. However, the energy efficiency of food was still too low for him. Chen Zhao still couldn't completely separate himself from the 5 grains. He could not eat the wind and drink the dew. However, not eating or drinking for more than 10 days was nothing to him. Of course, even though Chen Zhao was close to fasting. However, Chen Zhao's appetite was still much larger than a regular person's. Chen Zhao could already use his immortal power to ensure that he was never hungry. However, there were some trace elements that the human body needed that could not be provided by immortal energy. To put it bluntly, Chen Zhao didn't eat to eat now, but to replenish his micronutrients. Therefore, Chen Zhao's food combinations for each meal were very rich. I'm hungry, he answered matter-of-factly. Fine, you're the boss, you have the final say. But this time, he only told Portia to find a normal restaurant. Not those high-end restaurants that cost thousands of dollars for a meal. An hour later, Portia sat across from him. Chen Zhao was still wolfing down his food. How much did Chen Zhao eat? 10 servings of pasta, 20 servings of pepper scallops, 5 lobsters, and 20 prawns. There were also 20 steaks and 5 roasted chickens. Portia had never seen someone with such a huge appetite. Just how many people's portions did he eat? 10 people? Or 20 people? Those who did not know would think that he was a beggar who hadn't eaten for a few days. Chen Zhao did not care about other people's opinions. He could eat however he wanted. You eat some too, Chen Zhao said in the midst of his busy schedule. Thanks, but it's okay. Portia forced a smile. Okay. Tell the waiter to give me 20 medium-rare steaks. This restaurant's steaks are as good as the chef's. Oh, I saw that there's roasted lamb leg on the menu. Give me 2. Boss, can you finish it? I never waste food, Chen Zhao said. After midnight, Chen Zhao walked out of the restaurant, satisfied. Portia followed behind him. Boss, you just ate a total of $2,380. Okay, got it. Chen Zhao nodded. This restaurant is still worth it. If we went to a high-end restaurant, this meal would cost at least tens of thousands. Spending $2,380 for a meal. Was that worth it? But thinking about the amount he'd just eaten, it was indeed worth it. Sis, a slightly childish voice said. Chen Zhao turned his head and saw a boy around 18 or 19 years old. Portia was stunned for a moment. Billy, why are you here? I'm working part-time at this restaurant. Billy looked at Portia and then at Qin Zhao. Sis, when did you come back to New Orleans? Also, who is he? Your boyfriend? No, he's my boss, Portia quickly explained. I'm working now. I'll go visit you guys when I'm free. Okay. Billy still had some baby fat on his face, but he was even taller than Qin Zhao. Qin Zhao did not know what these foreigners ate to be so tall at such a young age. Billy walked up to Qin Zhao. Don't bully my sister, or I'll teach you a lesson. Portia, come to my room tonight. I have something I need you to deal with. Ah, Billy's face darkened. Qin Zhao smiled faintly. If you continue to threaten me, your sister's job will be very difficult. Kid, don't trouble your sister with your immature way of thinking. Billy's face darkened. Billy's face turned red and he stared at Qin Zhao hatefully. Sis, don't work for him anymore. Billy, don't mind my business. Portia did not want Billy to get involved. Qin Zhao was clearly not a good person. If Billy angered him, the consequences would be unimaginable. Billy's face turned green as he watched Qin Zhao and his sister leave. He also felt that Qin Zhao was not a good person. If his sister worked for him, she might encounter indescribable trouble. No, he had to think of something. Boss, Billy's just a kid. Don't lower yourself to his level. Of course not, Qin Zhao replied, smiling. I won't lower myself to a kid's level. Then where are we going now? Is there anything more memorable in New Orleans? There's a street in New Moon City that sells traditional handicrafts. Most of the ancestors are French and Italian craftsmen. New Moon City's handicrafts are very famous. Chapter 1652. Actually, New Moon City was another name for New Orleans. But in New Orleans, there was an old part of the city that had always been called New Moon City. Because that area was more conservative, it had a very traditional architectural style and atmosphere. Qin Zhao listened as Portia introduced New Orleans. He could not help but interrupt, New Moon City has such a stylish name. Why was it changed to New Orleans? New Orleans was named after Louis XV's regent, the Duke of Orleans, Portia said. But New Orleans has another name. You definitely don't know. What name? City of the Dead. Isn't this name too ominous? Qin Zhao frowned. Actually, it's because New Orleans' terrain is low and it's built on a swamp. It's almost the same as water level. Water will seep in after digging 2 or 3 meters. That's why the coffins of the dead here are all suspended. They're not buried underground, but in the tombs above the ground. But this also caused several plagues in New Orleans. It's all because the corpses were not buried. That's how the name City of the Dead came about. Portia paused for a moment before continuing. 15 years ago, Hurricane Katrina struck New Orleans. Several cemeteries in the city were almost razed to the ground. At that time, thousands of corpses were scattered all over the city by the hurricane, making the name of the City of the Undead even more resounding. Qin Zhao frowned. Let's not go to New Moon City. Take me to a few cemeteries in the city. Portia was speechless. Why did he go to a cemetery instead of shopping? Did he eat too much? Boss, what's so good about those places? I just want to see the suspended tombs, Qin Zhao said calmly. Portia was speechless at Qin Zhao's unpredictable style. But what could she do? She was just a personal assistant. She could only do whatever the boss said. Portia sent Qin Zhao to a cemetery. Most cities had cemeteries in the suburbs. But in New Orleans, many cemeteries were in the city. Portia did not like to come to cemeteries. No one did. But she had no choice. Since Chen Zhao was coming, she could only follow. Chen Zhao got out of the car. Portia also got out. Visiting a cemetery. Only he could think of something like that. Portia followed behind him. He kept mumbling to himself. Chen Zhao realized that the graveyard was indeed very low. Some of the turf even seeped water when stepped on. However, Chen Zhao was confused. Surprisingly, Chen Zhao didn't feel any strong yin qi in the cemetery. After all, it was risky to leave the body on the ground. It wasn't just the plague. It was even more likely for them to turn into zombies. Once a corpse came into contact with the moonlight, it was very likely that it would turn into a zombie. The design of this tomb could gather yin and disperse yang. Therefore, logically speaking, the yin qi in this cemetery should be very heavy. But why was the yin qi here so weak? It was even worse than the cemeteries in other cities. Chen Zhao continued walking in the cemetery. Most of the mausoleums in the cemetery maintained a European architectural style. Actually, it was just a smaller version. Some of the mausoleums in the cemetery were relatively new. Many of the older parts were severely damaged. Portia felt very uncomfortable. Not everyone could stand in front of a stranger's mausoleum for a few minutes. Are you not feeling well? Chen Zhao looked back at Portia. Portia's expression was very ugly. Isn't that obvious? Are you feeling well? Okay, Chen Zhao really didn't have any other expression on his face. There was a problem here. This was Chen Zhao's conclusion. But even if he knew there was a problem here, it was useless. Chen Zhao could send Sam and Vikari to guard the two problematic places. But how would he guard the cemetery? The cemetery was an open area. Many people would come to sweep the graves every day. Even if someone came with ulterior motives, they wouldn't be able to tell. Unless Chen Zhao guarded the place personally. But Chen Zhao didn't plan on spending the night here. Take me to other cemeteries. Boss, why are you here? I plan on investing in a cemetery. Whoosh, Portia almost couldn't breathe. Boss, you're not joking, right? No. In the next 3 days, give me a proposal for the investment and construction of the cemetery. Boss, cemeteries are usually opened up by the government. There's no investment. No one has ever invested in cemeteries. Portia wanted to stop Chen Zhao's stupid idea. Fine. Chen Zhao shrugged. Portia heaved a sigh of relief. That was close. What was going on in Chen Zhao's head? How could he have such a weird idea? Portia hurriedly drove away with Chen Zhao. Suddenly, a thought flashed through Portia's mind. Boss, you're not messing with me, are you? Chen Zhao turned his head slowly. What? You said you're going to invest in cemeteries. Portia saw the mockery in Chen Zhao's eyes. This asterisk shoal is indeed messing with me. Then, Chen Zhao walked around the cemeteries one after another. Portia was about to go crazy. This guy must be crazy. He could go to the park, the mall, or even the street. What's so good about a cemetery? And he's enjoying it so much. Okay, let's go back to the hotel, Chen Zhao said. There was a man-made island on the Lake Pontchartrain Bridge. It was about 2 square kilometers. It was a leisure area that combined leisure, shopping, and entertainment. Many vehicles would make a detour to this recreational area. But last night, something happened here. After midnight, the place was covered in fog. The dozens of employees in the leisure area lost contact with the outside world. According to the report, a body was found on the Lake Pontchartrain Bridge. It was confirmed to be an employee of the leisure area. Then the police sent a team into the area. But now, even the police who had entered had disappeared. They had completely lost contact with them. Then the military announced that the bridge was closed and temporarily took over the Lake Pontchartrain Bridge. Even the military didn't know much about the situation in the leisure area now. High-altitude satellites couldn't penetrate the leisure area either. The military had sent 2 helicopters to hover above the leisure area. But both helicopters had crashed in the leisure area. The situation became even more complicated. But the military still didn't know what had happened inside. Demi had a headache now. The Lake Pontchartrain Bridge was the main road. There were close to 50,000 cars every day. Every minute she closed the bridge, the pressure would increase. From the city government to her boss, everyone kept urging her to solve the problem. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.